Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Bulletproof Mindset, Scotland's #1 health, fitness and entertainment podcast. So today is a very special episode where we interview Rob Westra and we get a chit chat about his life story and what his purpose is now on helping people over the age of 40 kind of regain control of their health. Now, if you're an avid listener, you would have heard us speak about before everything about your physical pension. Well, Rob is the guy that we have referred in the past, and it was excellent to get him on the podcast and very grateful to have a very inspiring chat. Rob has an interesting background and I'm sure you're going to love it. Now, if you're new around here, the best way you can support this show, and if you like today's conversation, then consider leaving a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you're choosing to listen to this. This is the best way to help us grow, and it's completely free to do so. And also, before we get into today's episode, going to leave a link to all of Rob's social media handles. And if you're someone that's over the age of 40 and looking to rebuild their health, then check the link below because Rob's got some spaces where you can join his coaching. So, without further ado, let's get into today's episode. Yeah. So I guess where we'll start is we've I don't think called you out is the right word, shouted you out on the podcast because one of the first time I ever came across your page was when Richard shared the stuff, and Richard knew obviously I was a PT at the time, and he's like, you should check this guy out. A great message along the same lines of what you're doing, and I seen your tag was build your physical pension. I was like, oh, what a tagline. And I mentioned it on the podcast to James. I was like, you need to check this guy out because what a fantastic way of framing it, because we're always of the point that, look, health and fitness is such a broad topic, so many different avenues that you can explore, but one of the best things you can get from resistance training is the kind of longevity of your life. So gave you a wee follow, and then obviously we've crossed paths over the last couple of years. So
that's been a couple of years now.
You've been in fitness your whole life, or is it something you found at the later part of your life?
No, I haven't. Yes, I have, and no, I haven't. I was good at sports. You know, it was one thing I was good at. You know, from an early age, tennis. To the point where at 14 I was an assistant tennis coach.
Oh wow!
And my coach wanted me to go on the circuit, but it was kind of like it's a fucking lot of money.
Yeah,
family didn't have the money to do that, so it was kind of like So I was good at tennis, and then I went into I played rugby and stuff at school, but I was always really short. Like really fucking short.
Were you?
Yeah,
I was going to say,
what
happened?
I was, I didn't have my growth spurt until I was about 14, maybe 15. And then I just took off. So as all my mates and stuff were getting massive like you two, I stayed really small playing rugby, and I was getting belted, dislocated shoulders and knocked out. And it was just like, fuck, this is too much. I was also doing the tennis at the same time, and then something switched, and it was like, you know, when you're competitive and you're really competitive and you get cranky with everyone when you lose. Yeah. So I hate that. Yeah. So
sore loser.
So it's a sore loser. Yeah. So I got into martial arts because it was like, right, I want to do something that if I win, I win. If I lose, it's my own fault.
Don't have to rely on anyone.
Don't have to rely on it. So I got into martial arts at an early-ish age, late teens, and then did really well at that as well. I'm a builder by trade, so that was my sort of makeup. I was always windsurfing, good at that. Sports just kind of come natural to a certain degree. So always been sporty, but not always in fitness, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, so
it was just a sport.
Yeah. So some would say, I would say to a fairly decent level. You know, like I was fortunate enough. Well, I got into try out for the Australian karate team.
All right, nice.
Got fucking hammered because there's a difference between winning, your local events and then winning a few state events and then winning some other stuff and then going, right, next step, let's fucking go. Australian team. Right, there you go.
On another level.
Welcome to the big boys.
Welcome to hell.
You get humbled. You get humbled quick when you're starting to like go into elite level of sport. I've told the story on the podcast when I played basketball and I was the shit in high school. Nobody else came close, but because it's an unusual sport to play here in Scotland. Yeah. And then I went and played for the Edinburgh team, which was in the national leagues. Yeah. And I rocked up to this like ready to be Billy Big Bollocks and I get humbled quick,
Yeah.
and I was like, nah, this isn't for me.
That's a good thing, though.
It was kind of that. It was
Yeah.
kind of that. You know, I flew down to Melbourne to get try out for the team. So you got all the guys from all over the world. You got the actual Australian team were there. I was lucky enough. I got to know them.
Yeah, it was cool.
Some of the guys, and for some reason they took me under their wing. In fact, if I know it, my first fight, I got absolutely annihilated. It was like, right, you're on, you're off, you're out. But they picked me to join in for their teams event, which was kind of like,
That's cool.
yeah, really cool.
Yeah.
So it was like, right, so I got to fight, actually I did fight against them. It was just really cool. Yeah, it was like, this ain't for me anymore. So it was the training, and I enjoyed the training, and I also enjoyed, I think if you've done martial arts or boxing or anything like that, there's a certain level of confidence that it builds when you walk onto a mat and someone walks onto the mat opposite you and you go, right,
let's go.
Let's go.
Mm-hmm.
You either win or you don't. Mm-hmm. And I kind of like that. So that was that. Then I got into building. Well, I always did that because I wasn't very smart. But building allowed me to go all over the world. You know, so I lived in Canada for a period of time in the Rocky Mountains snow skiing.
Oh, that's cool.
And that just gave me the opportunity. I did some building. I worked in the thing. I actually went there to get my ski instructors. And I happened to hook up with a bunch of Canadians that were called, I think they went by a name of like the Rat Pack. So, and they were doing like cliff jumps and shit.
Oh, they used to the wild stuff,
So
like adrenaline junkies.
Oh, yeah. So
I've heard Canada's quite wild for that.
Yeah, my cup of tea. So they were kind of like, no, you don't want to do that. Just come and ski with us. and some of the memories of that was, come on, Aussie, where's the Aussie? He's up there, they're jumping. I'm going, I'm not jumping off that fucking shit. But, so it was a really good experience.
How old are you at this point?
24.
Right, so right in the peak of the 20s then.
Yeah, 24. You had to get to Canada before I was 25 because the visa thing changed.
Right.
So I spent a whole year skiing.
Sounds fucking bliss.
It was a way to find yourself. You know,
One thing I've not done yet is skiing. I've done snowboarding, like at the indoor thing that used to be in Glasgow. Yeah.
Snowboarding.
No, snowboarding's the cooler one. Skiing's snowboarding's cooler than skiing.
No,
yes, it is.
What are you talking about?
That's no known that way, mate.
We'll throw a poll up for the audience. We'll throw a poll up for the audience. No, absolutely not.
An American way.
No, look, I did have I've got a snowboard.
Right.
I got the snowboard because it was so much easier to keep your snowboard next to the lift than your skis.
Just grab it, yeah.
You just grab it and go. So I can do that. I can snowboard as well. But Canada's amazing. You should fucking go.
It's definitely on the bucket. It's on the bucket list.
That's the spot.
So what kind of took you away from? Were you still doing building? Were you still?
Yeah, I did some building when I was there.
Yeah,
I did some building there. Then when I come back, this is where I met Louise. Actually, my lovely wife. So having a travel bug. So I went home and I stayed at home for 2 weeks. I've been away for over a year. And I couldn't deal with the family anymore. And a job come up in the paper. It was called Traveller's Dream. It'll pay for your travel, your food, and your rent. I was like, fuck, I'm in. And it was selling.
That's it.
That was it. And I was selling encyclopedias door to door around Australia.
Right.
So I took the job. Most people last 3 months. I did it for 3 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and in
Committed.
that time, I met Louis, and eventually we obviously got married and so forth. So that was a cool experience, and I think that was the grounding for some of the sales stuff.
Chatting to so many different people,
communication
learning communication
and
skills,
just going out and meeting people and having a chat and finding different stories.
I think that's what everyone always talks about traveling. Yes, you get to see different sights and different wonders of the world, but it's the people that you meet, different life experiences, and kind of broaden your circle.
Which I think it all kind of ties into what I do now, because to me, life is just a bunch of stories and a bunch of experiences. You know, what can you share? What can you teach? What can you enlighten someone with? And having those experiences of knocking on random people's door, trying to sell them a $3.5 grand program right there and then on the spot. Just builds another layer of confidence within yourself.
For sure.
To take the knockbacks and the stuff.
High levels of rejection of it. What, 3,500
stacks
for what?
Stacks of 3,000 for what?
What were you saying?
The program was encyclopedia based.
Right.
So you remember that, people go, you're a encyclopedia salesman. Kind of. It was an educational program for kids from wee littlies all the way through. It's basically what every family will buy. I'm guilty of this as well, for their kids growing up, to teach them how to do stuff.
So just like the holy grail of life.
Basically,
yeah.
You had in there National Geographic, Time Life, good set of.
It's crazy how technology can disrupt the space so quickly. Then, yeah,
it can. We started to compete against the computer era, but when you look at the research of what kids retain from a book compared to what they retain from the internet or from the computer screen, is a massive difference.
Yeah,
so little things like. Some of the books had little buzzers and stuff for the kids.
To give them that feedback, instant feedback.
And we've still got one of the books at home now that we still bring out, and the quality of the books are just fucking on another planet. But it was really interesting because it was, you buy it now or you don't buy it at all.
Aye.
So on the spot, because I was a travelling salesman, so I travelled around Australia for over 3 years.
Was it good commission and all that sort of stuff, or was it quite cushy?
It was. Making good money when you sold the program. Different role models then. Yeah. So if I had someone like, the world that we know now here, if you got the Richards and the Pauls and some of the other lads around there, you probably would do a lot of things differently because you'd invest that money. But my role model back then was, let's spend it.
And
go out and make some more next week. You go, okay, cool.
Live life week by week.
Yeah. You might make $5-6 grand a week, and then I'd go out to nightclubs and restaurants, and you go, I didn't worry about it because it's like, I'll just sell some more next week.
What's your upbringing look like then? What kind of household did you come from? Are you close with your parents, or were you close with your parents?
Working class. Dad was a coal miner. And so he worked night shifts.
Right.
So he did that for 25 years.
Fucking hell.
Yeah. My whole family uncles and stuff were all in the coal mines. I grew up, my older brother's an electrician.
Right.
And still is. Worked in a local place called the Steelworks. So it was always that thing back then of get a good job.
Yeah.
Get security.
It's still that way.
It's still there.
I think it's shifting though. I think it definitely is shifting.
But like our parents are still.
You'll be right. You know what I mean? And I was always the black sheep, middle child syndrome. Let's call it that. So home was good. We had our holidays. We different era too. So all the crap that we're going through these days, where I can call you a name or whatever it may be, and in this afternoon we'll go and have a play together. We'll get the bike out. Whereas today everything's so. You got to kind of be careful of what you're saying.
Red tape.
Yeah, so it was really different. It was really different. We had so many different cultures back in Oz.
Right.
As in, because everyone's an immigrant. Everyone.
Right.
The only true Australians are the Aboriginals. And that's it. Everyone else is basically a thief because we're all being put over there from the boats. You know what I mean? So we had guys from Germany, from I'm Dutch is the background for us. And then you got guys, one of my mates from school, his name was Yusuf. So you can imagine that, the shit that he got hammered with at school, what sort of fucking name's that? Your first name's your second name. What's going on there? But you would have that interaction, and then in the afternoon you go, right, I'll see you at 4, because we go and get the bikes and go over the mudflats and go and climb some trees and stuff. We didn't have any of that, we just everyone just got along because it was tough. So we'd have our school holidays. We'd go camping and go snow skiing, and that was it. We didn't really travel anywhere else, but we were chuffed with that because we were outdoor kids.
Yeah.
When I talk to people in Scotland of my age group, it was the same.
Oh, no, it's the exact same.
It was exactly the same. It was like I talk to my mates and they go, well, "What did you do when you grew up?" Well, I'd come home and mum and dad say, "Get out," and come back when it's dark.
I think we are one of the last generations to catch the gaming world of consoles and being able to go online and play with your friends versus going out, because we were just talking on yesterday's podcast that you used to chap your friend's door or phone them and if that happens now you'd be like, why the fuck are you turning up at my door?
Aye, you're not allowed to turn up at MD's door ever.
No. I tell you, when we moved over, I made some friends over around the Octorado way, and from the classes that I did at Glen Eagles. So I was driving past one of my mates' houses, and I've been and done a couple of hikes with him. We've done a couple of Munros and stuff. So I pull in his driveway, his car's there, knock on the door. He opens the door and he goes, "What are you doing?" I went, "Your fucking car's here," so I thought I'd pop in. Oh, right. Oh, we don't do that.
It's a bit weird.
It's a bit weird. I said, "You gonna let me in or what?" He's like,
"Put the kettle on."
Yeah, okay. And then he called out to his wife, "Rob's here." Well, what's he want? No, it's like
just to see you.
just to say hello,
come to
mate.
say hi.
It's just
that human connection,
well
man. I know it's gone.
That's well gone.
It is
See if
gone.
somebody turned up to my door, I wouldn't answer.
You'd be in the blinds like,
I'm not even there.
I can see you. It's like, no, I'm not in.
We've had times back home when you've pulled into your driveway and you go, back in Oz, you go, fuck, there's a party going on in my house. Everyone's there.
Yeah.
Table tennis is on and the boat's been moved out, barbecue's going. So, all right, cool.
Just the pure community side of things and all that. Yeah. I know it's something we are certainly missing in the world that we live in just now.
I think it's across the board too.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's still the same like that back home because I obviously haven't been there.
Well, I don't know if this is just through watching, I don't know, social media and watching movies and stuff, but maybe stereotypical, but I think Australians, they are quite all outdoorsy people. Same with like Canadians because of
it's the climate.
The stuff that they have access to.
Climate. Yeah.
But I think some people might think that about Scotland when they see the nature and the wildness, but we know hundreds of people who barely leave their house and miss out on the fantastic things of life. So you're obviously grown up in Australia and whatnot. You meet Louise. So how does that shift to you coming and living in Scotland with your family now? How did you get there?
Well, simple, really. Everything's simple when you take out the stress of thinking about it too much. So Louise is a naturopath, as you know. Now in Australia, a naturopath gets seen by as many people as what a doctor does. It's kind of well known,
right?
And there's a crossover too where naturopaths will refer to doctors and doctors will refer to naturopaths. So Glen Eagles, actually there was one in London as well, but Glen Eagles, they put in a health section, a wellness section in the hotel, and that's what she come over for. So she got the job as the I think it was called the gatekeeper, which was the naturopath, and then they had an osteopath and a couple of other people, doing different things. So it was like, right, you don't often get her role offered to you, in another. You know what I mean? It's not something that you see in the paper or you hear about. Oh, naturopath wanted. Most people we talk to about naturopath, they go, "What the fuck's that?"
Yeah.
So it was like, right, it's in the UK, and I always knew we'd go over at some point. So it was like, righto.
Had you visited the UK before this?
Yeah,
you'd been to see family.
But I've never been to Scotland before.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like, and that's just how we are. It was kind of like, right,
where are we going?
Do you want to do it? Let's do it.
I love it.
Righto,
yeah.
Let's go. What are we going to do? Right, let's sell everything. We had 6 acres back home, and we were only about 10 minutes from the beach. So in one way, the acreage was too early for us because we'd always talked about finishing up on acres somewhere, and it was just too early in our life. And there's a lot of maintenance to do on acreage. So I was thinking, right, because I was doing real estate back then actually.
Oh,
I was a real estate agent.
I
I did real estate for 7 years before we moved over. So that was another part of the salesy stuff, It's just kind of
natural progression in a way.
So
your firstborn, he was born in Australia.
He was born in Oz, yeah. He was born in Oz.
So I can imagine a lot of people kind of listening to your story going, "Wow, young family," and just decide to pack up and move.
Yeah.
Class.
It's interesting because a lot of our mates are like, "Oh, we'd love to do something like that." Okay, well, fucking do it.
I love that mindset.
I can't do it. Well, you can. Yeah, it's going to cause some turmoil. My family didn't like it, so it was kind of like how you position it and put it out. Right, we're going to Scotland. We're going to the UK for a period of time. How long are you going for? Don't know. Won't be too long. Maybe. Well, what's too long?
Yeah, exactly.
Too long? No.
20 years.
Yeah. Well, whatever. So we just did. So I was going to keep the farm. I call it a farm. We're going to keep the farm.
It sounds like a farm, 6 acres. A good bit of space,
We've got all the kangaroos and all the shit that's on it, it was a farm. But being in real estate as well, I kind of knew that if a tree fell over, because there was lots of trees on it. You know, the tenant has the
Headache,
right to go,
yeah.
hey, the tree's fallen over. Can you get someone to come and chop it up? It's like, my goodness, there's about 500 fucking trees. Yeah. So it's like, no, just sell it. They don't need the hassle. But selling it gave us the opportunity to do all the things that we've done here, you know, all the travel. And that's the beauty of being on this side of the world, you know, Greece and Lanzarote and France skiing and Norway and just.
I was actually thinking about when you're talking about your journey of like you wanting to travel, which is so funny because so many people, particularly in Scotland, will travel to Australia because they seek the lifestyle that you've grown up from, and then it's vice versa. But it's just it's a hand that it's a hand that you're dealt with, and sometimes you don't realise how lucky we have it this side of the world, having all these little locations quite close to us.
I think it's also being from Oz is you've got, of course, Australia's so big, hey?
That's huge.
You know, just travelling anywhere. Like I just said, you know, I just drove up and down, you know, 8 hours.
That's a normal track.
I know,
it's
all right.
It's like, this is the length of the UK that you've just driven.
It's because it's natural. It's just normal. You know, so where we lived in New South Wales, we could drive 10 hours north, 10 hours south and 10 hours west and still not be out of New South Wales yet, still be in the same state.
Yeah, not see a beach, not see the coast.
It's massive. You know, it's ginormous. It's huge. So you kind of like go, right, you know, well, I'm going to go, and we did it one weekend where we went to my mates for about 3 or 4 days. It's a 12-hour drive.
Oh, wow.
You're just like, right, we're done. We're going to see Rich, righto.
I don't even drive to his house. He stays 20 minutes from me. I'm like, I'll just get you at the gym.
I've asked my brother-in-law a couple of times, you know, down south to go, mate, can you go and check this car out for me? I go, how far away is it? So it's half hour. No, it's too far. Fucking hell. It's half an hour.
Just conditioned a different way, yeah.
You are, yeah. You just, and that's it.
So what year did you come over to? Did you come straight to Scotland or did you go to London first?
We went to, Louis come straight over. I went to the in-laws for a little period of time while we worked out the accommodation.
Right.
So we had on-site accommodation at the hotel, which is really shit, but it was better than nothing. And I still remember driving through Glendevon, coming into Glen Eagles with little Noah in the back and going, fuck. Check this place out.
Yeah, this is different.
This is different. This is, you know, and turning in and up and going, oh my goodness, mate, look at this. This is, and we stayed right there on site, and then we got a rental in Guthrie Court, which is across the road from the Equestrian Centre.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So our back door was going onto the mini part, and we were there every day.
Yes.
Every day, walking around walking through the hotel. Just, you know, it was just, it was
loving it.
It was cool.
Loving life.
It was really cool.
So what year was that?
Whatever, 12 years ago it was.
12.
13 years ago, 12 years ago.
And this is it. True Scotsman now.
No, it was really cool. It was really cool. So, you know, that brought us over, and then you get used to the climate. You know, let's face it, on a beautiful day, Scotland's amazing.
No,
we get about 5 of them.
I mean, I was going to say, there's no many of them.
That's the only problem.
Aye.
That's the only problem. But
I don't think
that's the beauty of a good day, though.
Aye, exactly.
Isn't it?
That is.
It is.
That is not.
You get one cracking day,
and everyone is out.
The last 3 months, you can wipe that out. It's fine.
Take Sunday. Sunday was a beautiful day. I watched it. That's where you were. Sun setting, watching all that, and then woke up torrential rain like the next couple of days. But I don't think our country would be as beautiful if it didn't have the rain that it does. So
you've got to have
Can't have both ways.
But I think as well, we don't take advantage of how quickly you can get to places like this. This Christmas, last Christmas, we went to Lanzarote for 3 weeks over Christmas. The best. And it's kind of like you're talking to other people there, and we stayed for 3. And the people there staying for a week, and they're like, we should have stayed for longer. You know, I said, you should. We stayed for a week last year, the year before, and it was like, well, I've only stayed for a week.
Yeah.
You know, just through that period, it was just like sunshine, swimming, good food, good for the body.
So see back home, if you were to go on holiday, like where's like the common destination? So over here, Tenerife, Lanzarote, Europe, all that sort of stuff. Back home, like what would be the go-to? Do people tend to travel, or do they just kind of stay within Australia?
No, we're the nation's a traveller. So for us, we grew up, I used to have a caravan about an hour and a half from home, right on the beach. It was on surf beach there, and then an inlet right next to it. So we did a lot of surfing and windsurfing, so that was the ideal spot. So you get up in the morning and go for a surf, and when the wind comes up, you go sailing and pub up the road and stumble home, barbecue, What are you doing tomorrow?
Repeat.
Same thing. Okay, cool.
Sounds good.
And
Sounds
that
good.
was kind of it.
Yeah.
You know, but you know, we've got skiing in Australia. There's so much to do, but it's also expensive to travel around and do stuff. So I think that's where the love of sports and physical activity come from growing up.
That doesn't cost much.
Yeah.
Well, some it doesn't.
Yeah. Depends on your activity.
Seeing both sides then, like, what's your opinion on what we take for granted here? And then also, what do you miss back home?
The mountains here. The mountains here are, you know, well, they're mountain, the Munros. We just got to get out more, outdoors more, you know? And I think that's generally, it's, and I get it, it is difficult because I must admit when we come back from Lanzarote, you know, probably for the first 4 or 5 days, like we were doing 20-odd thousand steps every day, going to the gym. I used that 3 weeks there to train for high rocks.
I've seen that,
and, you know, to do the sled pushing and the sled pulls and that type of stuff.
Outside on the beach.
Fuck the running and the burpees and shit. They're horrible. But, you know, and then we come back, it was like, right, I'm going to go and do this. And it was like, it's just cold. It's dark. I'll just stay inside.
No vitamin D. A lack of vitamin D.
I'll put the fire on. And it took me about 4 days to kind of like work up that motivation, even though I'm a kind of
shake
energy
it off.
bloke, to go, right, I've got to jump on the rower that's outside undercover and hit it. It's like, I don't really want to, you know, and I get it, you know, so if you're in that zone constantly and you haven't got someone or you've got that really upbeat personality or someone going, mate, you've got to do some stuff.
Get the body moving.
Just close the curtains,
stay in,
get the fire on, and there you go. Job done.
Seasonal depression, I think.
I can understand why people are in that. It takes a lot to get out of it.
For sure.
I tell you, it's hard.
Yeah.
Whereas back home, we have the outside, the sunshine.
It's kind of breeded into you, no matter what.
It comes with so many people at the moment on social media are pushing how much you need sunshine and, you know, get out in the sun and all this talk about cancers and, you know, I don't know if you've seen that stuff.
I seen that. How silly was this? I seen the one that's like, sunbathing for 15 minutes a day increases inflammation, and it was that. So most people will read the heading and then see, right, okay, I'm not to go out in the sun.
Yes,
but what they're not seeing is that's how our body responds to anything.
Obviously,
it's a stress.
absolutely.
It adapts. We react.
Obviously,
and then
it flames.
It tans. That's how fucking tanning works. So I see that narrative being pushed as well.
You know, like you look at eye health and so forth. You know, getting up and actually, you know, looking into. I haven't worn sunglasses now for probably, on a regular basis, for probably 5 years.
Right.
Yeah. So I get up, you know, when I can. You look at the sun in the morning, and you kind of look at it directly for a period of time. Yeah. And then in the evenings, if you get the opportunity.
Usually a wee bit dimmer though, so you can. Middle of the day, it's different.
Absolutely. Watching the sunrise. So every day, pretty much in Lanzarote, watching the sunrise, directly looking into it.
You notice the difference at any sort of eyesight?
I think if you did it
too
long
early
enough,
to tell.
you're probably one of the guys that I know. He's been doing it, and I don't know what the scale is of measurement, you know, that they use in optometrists. But he said his eyesight has improved by 2 measurements from doing that.
Right.
You know, so
fascinating, isn't it? This big yellow thing in the sky, how powerful it can be.
How powerful it can be. And then you've got other people that I've seen, you know, they saying get into the sun and get as much burn as you possibly can and all that. And I'm like, I probably don't advocate that since I've got a scar on my arm there that's had a thing removed, and I'm going in to get one ripped off my face, and I got one on my nose.
Is this from sunburn?
Yeah, from sunburn. You know, my uncle died. He had cancers all over him from, you know, you go, so it's
all a balance,
Yeah, there's a balance there, and it depends on where you live.
Yeah.
You know, Australia's got no ozone. If it's an ozone, whatever it is, you know, I think after COVID now, you start to not question everything.
Question everything.
Question everything.
I seen a video of a rocket flying the other day, and I was on TikTok for the first time in a while, and I read the comments, and they're like, this rocket will never break. I don't even know what the word was. It wasn't the ozone layer.
Yeah.
It was a new word for it that they've made up. Don't know. And I was just like, I'm deleting this. I'm deleting this app. I deleted it after it because I was like, whether it is or it isn't, it doesn't really. Why
is that a question that's coming up? Why is that the main concern?
I don't know what it was called, but like no one can leave Earth now. That's what they were saying. Like it's after COVID, it's like hangweed over.
Yes. Yeah. It's so we questioned a lot of stuff beforehand. Now we just question a lot more.
Aye.
You know,
definitely.
Who's this that's given this research?
Well, don't get me wrong. There's some things that you see people do, which I actually again talked to you, not about this specifically, but when you're talking about sunlight, there was a wave of people getting butt naked and shining their buttholes to the sun and all that. You know, seen that? No, I don't do that. Well, There's no sunlight.
We don't get sun enough here. So.
I can imagine you like, it's coming. But like anything that's sort of unconventional, it kind of raises we all get our backs up initially, and then we're like, but we've said that very recently. Like we've been. Not wrong, but we've changed the views on some things, like whether it's a style of training or various different things. It's like, you know what, that's kind of the best way to communicate something. It's like we actually don't know what this modality training is going to do for you, but try it out for yourself and see if you enjoy it.
Yeah,
like lifestyle, you need to enjoy what's right for you.
Look, I totally get that, and I think as you get older. And I said this to someone the other day, you know, it's about not being political, you know, left ring, right ring, you know, type of setup. And I said, I look at things as an aeroplane. I've got to have a little bit of left wing, I've got to have a little bit of right wing to keep stable. And they're kind of like, well, that kind of makes sense. If I'm more one way, I'm going to crash. And if I do that with my training too. So every time I go to a new seminar or look at some more information, I kind of try to take out of my brain what I think I already know.
Biases, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Take it out of your brain and go, right, I'm coming into this with a brand new look on I know fuck all. Mm-hmm. Right, give me the information. What is this? Because you are going to set yourself up from the start with your bias of, I don't like the way he looks, therefore I'm not going to take any of his information in. I've got to go in there. And one of my mates actually, he went to he was doing a speech or a talk in an organisation, and the group of people, when he started talking, they all closed their eyes. And he's like, what the fuck's going on here?
It's one way to throw a speaker off, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. You're going, what's going on here? And they all just shut their eyes. So I think they might have been Japanese. And so what they're doing is they're listening with intent.
Oh, right, makes sense.
They're listening with intent. He's kind of like, am I fucking that boring?
I thought this was a good speech.
I haven't even got into my 20-second mark yet. You guys are all shut your eyes. So, but I think if we can go to these things and take out the world around us, because let's face it, you're probably even now, when I'm talking, you're going, oh, there's a plant, whatever's going on, you know, we're not 100% focused on the chat or the information, because we've got so much going on in our head.
Aye.
So if we can take out what we already have in there to go, let me just absorb some of this information, and then I can pick out what I think is good, and then I can offload what I might have to go and do some more research on.
Yeah.
And that's what I kind of do with all my fitness stuff. You know, breath work is exactly the same. So the oxygen advantage things, all the body weight movement stuff.
Yeah.
I like that. Not real keen on that. You know, maybe I need to do some more research on that. Doesn't kind of gel with me. I'll pick that out. I'll take some of that. I'll do that bit of food. You know what I mean? So that way you can mold and work out what fits you. And I also think for some of your clients, what fits them.
Yeah.
Because we're all different.
Yeah, we've all got our experiences and that sort of stuff. It's a great point to make, especially what you're saying, that there's so much in our brain, but especially in today's age with that short form content, the constant scrolling. We brought up something recently, like on TikTok, you can actually look back at the amount of videos that you've consumed.
All right.
Right. So I seen a video that I was trying to explain to Gillian. It was an Aussie guy actually, and he had the moustache and a mullet. And I was trying to show my wife, I was like, that's the haircut I'm going to go. And I remember it was like 10 o'clock in the morning. I'd seen the video and I was like, let me go back and I'll try and find it. And this was at 9 o'clock at night. So not even 12 hours later. And I'm scrolling and I'm like, can't be that far. But I remember every video. It's all coming back to me, every video that I've looked at. And I go back maybe about 1,000, 2,000 videos. And I was like, whoa, I need to actually step back, because it's just mush. It's just what is that doing to a brain at a different level? So for yourself, when did you get into fitness? Was it when you were over here? Did you start becoming a PT then? Is that what kind of what sparked that decision?
So it was like okay, I'm here. I can't work. I'm not allowed to work. Being a Commonwealth country from Australia, I'm not allowed to work. Fair enough. Okay, so I stayed at home dad for 3 years.
You're not allowed to work?
No, not allowed to. You got to get a visa.
Oh, so you can't do anything?
You can't do anything. You got to get a visa, you know, and swear your allegiance and all that type of stuff.
You're like that to Louise. Oh well.
Gutted.
Shame, I can't work.
Gutted. So I'll be a stay-at-home dad. So I had my mountain bike, and I had what we call a kangaroo seat, which sits in between the handlebars. Yeah, so the child sits in the front.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Not behind you.
Aye, so is that when you can see them?
He's right in front. Yeah. So he's seeing everything instead of the back of my head. And we just used to ride around Creef. Up over the hills and around, and then go to the cafes and sit down and have a coffee and a cake and just go. Louise
is coming on like, another day. It's like, babe.
Yeah. So it was funny. You all used to know as some of his first words were push those legs, daddy, push those legs as we're going over hills. Yeah. So we've done some cool rides. So then it was like, right, I just want to do my fitness stuff because that's where I find joy. I'm going to do what I want to do. So I did that. So I went to the Institute of Fitness, where they have the Olympic teams for the gymnastics down in Hertfordshire, I think.
All right, yeah.
And I stayed there for 6 weeks. So it was a 6-week course. Lived in there for 6 weeks, got to go and not hang out with the gymnasts and so forth. But I got to see it. I got to see how they train, and I wish I'd taken a photo. Now, knowing what I do now, of all of their progressions that they use to go for the different levels of their training.
Oh, that'd be cool.
And it's just one of those kick yourself moments. It's like, oh, look at that. Fuck, they lifted that.
You don't appreciate what's in front of you because you don't know.
Appreciate what was in front of you.
So like the programming part of it?
Yeah. And the weights they've got to hit before they get to the next
one.
My goodness.
Right.
It's mega. It is mega.
Right.
So that was really cool. So I did that. And then come back, and the door kind of opened by an opportunity. And Louise, I said to Louise, it's interesting what you put out to the universe. I said to Louise, I'll be working at Glen Eagles one day. She went, you will not, fuck off. You won't be doing anything over there, because that's her gig.
Yeah.
And on a Saturday, they have a boot camp, and the instructor couldn't make it. So they couldn't find anyone. So Louise said to one of the people in there, look, Rob's done his PT stuff. You know, maybe he can do the class. So, that'd be great. Come on over. So I did one class, and then I did the class again the following Saturday. And then I filled in a couple more, and before you knew it, I had 10 classes. Yeah. Before I had 10 classes, then at one stage I had like 15 classes a week going.
What are you doing? What was it? Just like generic
just my stuff.
boot camp stuff, or like
my stuff? Yeah, it was just like different, as we we're talking about earlier.
No,
as we're bringing in the GMB, because I got into that, and just bringing in animal movements and different things where people are like, right, what's going on here? This is weird. This is weird. And then started doing personal training there. But at the same time, it was all to try and fix my body, because I had some things going on. You know, I had like double injections in both shoulders. So the next stage was operations, and it was like, I don't want to go down that path. The surgeon was kind of cool. He's like, we could probably fix it, but we might fuck it. So it's like, right, let's not do that. And then this leg got run over. This ankle, actually, left one got run over flat by a truck, milk truck, what I was working on when I was about 14. So I had the knee on the ground and the toes on the ground, and the truck ran over the heel and flattened it. And then my right one's had a tendon removed off the side of the foot, and then the bone shaved and tendon put back on. Knee issues growing up. And
body's a bit beat up then. What age are you at this point?
That was 14.
No, I mean, 14, what age 15? At the time did you start realising that? Right, so the age of 44, you're kind of going, right, I'm a bit beat up, standard, or the society will tell you, get it fixed, get injections, or you're done, you're a write-off, and you're starting to go, right, no, I'm not giving in to this, I'm going to try some of these other movements.
I'm not taking that pill.
Love that.
I'm not taking that pill. I said there's got to be, when you get into your 40s and you're like, because they come really quick. Yeah. 40s, and then you hit 40 and you go, shit, I've just hit 50, and then before you know it, now middle of 50's on its way really fast. And so it just flies. So it's kind of like, right, I got to do something that's different, because if I'm like this now, by the time I'm 50, I'm going to be in a hell of pain.
Fucked.
Yeah, I had that many concussions and so forth. So it was kind of like, right, I need to do some stuff. So I did the PT, then I found GMB, which freed up the shoulders and started to work in a more systematic approach, body weight first. So there's one of the things that we sort of started to look at was learn how to move your body first before you add weight to it. And obviously you can't build strength on dysfunction. So you've got to fix your dysfunction. Yeah, otherwise you're just going to make it worse.
So this is like range of motion stuff and kind of testing.
And just starting to go through a process of analysis of, right, what can you do? Where's the pain? Why is there pain? Right? Most people are too strong. When I say too strong, I mean, and then we use our
push all the day.
Overcompensate in our pushing phases, and we don't do fuck all in our pulling phases. Yeah, so it's kind of like, right, there's a bit of a clue in that. We're really good in lifting this way, but what are we like for overhead stuff? Fucking hopeless.
Zero.
Yeah, really, really crap. So it's kind of like, right, I've got to start to learn how to do that. So that's where GMB come in, because we did the handstands, and I got videos of me trying to do handstands.
So like when I first started. GMB then. So for the audience listening, how would you kind of break that down?
GMB is an all-over program. It's geared for everyone because there's different levels to it that will take you through a whole range of fundamental movements. You can do the animal movements. You can do P-bars. Well, they don't have the P-bars anymore, or the rings. I've got all those programs. But we used to learn how to use P-bars. Yeah. So gymnastics based.
Yeah.
Because the guy that started it, Ryan, well, there's three of them, Ryan, Jarlo, and someone else, I can't think of his name. He was a gymnast, and they all understand aging. So it kind of made sense, you know, to get flexible, get more mobile, get integrated with movement, build strength and end ranges, you know, have some fun with movement instead of just your standard, you know, 5 sets of
lateral raises.
5 sets of 8, mate. How many have you done? I think it's 7.
So I take it like bodybuilding was never something that you were like, oh, that's why I started lifting, or that's why I'd done stuff. It was all performance-based and movement.
It was from my youth of smashing myself, you know, through windsurfing, because we were doing wave sailing, so doing loops and stuff, and I've been concussed that many fucking times. It's not funny. You're just busting yourself, you know, skiing, snow skiing, and all of that, you know. So it was a fairly solid upbringing of sport. Hence why I wanted to get into sport again. So then I went down the GMB path, and then it was like, right, I started to research about eyes and jaw and concussion and, you know, what's going on with the brain. And it was like, I need to go and learn some more of that. So I went and did applied movement neurology, which AMN it's called.
Right.
Yeah,
I've heard of it.
So we can now look at, basically at the end of the day, what are you doing it all for? You know, why do we work out? Why do we do what we do? And when you think about it, you might get answers of, well, I want to look good, I want to be strong, and you go, well, they're good byproducts, but at the end of the day, the reason that you want to keep on doing things is for your brain.
And movement freedom and longevity.
Well, if your brain's mush, no one gives a fuck what you look like. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, right, I need to get into that side of things to keep this thing active and wanting to learn, build a neuroplasticity, keeping it engaged, because it gets bored really quickly. And once you learn how to do a movement, your brain kind of switches off, and you don't want that. You know, so how many times have you guys driven from here to Glasgow or Edinburgh?
Yeah, you blink, you're like,
100%.
How'd I get here?
And I'm out. Yeah. So the brain's not paying any attention. So we want to do movements, but the brain is learning a language and doing different things, learning some of that crawling patterns, you know, that are challenging and rotational stuff where you go, fuck, I've got to think about that. So that's where, you know, it was one of the best things my clients can ever say to me is like, I have to think about that. I go, great.
That's what we're looking for.
We nailed it. You got to think about it. Excellent.
How are you communicating that to your clients when they're, because I would imagine, well, your marketing's pretty good for getting the right clientele to you. I like what you're doing on social media and that, but say, do you get clients to come to you and they're like, look, I just want to feel better in myself? Like, how are you communicating that to like the average person? Because they only want the fat loss, they only want the surface level stuff, when in reality we know the bigger picture.
We know they need it, so you've got to kind of give what they're looking for to start with. So it's
sprinkle the other bit.
It's a whole new world for me now going into the online space. So I'll admit I've changed my tactic to at the moment I'm running a drop 10 in 5 weeks. Yeah.
And once they're in with you,
once you're in your net, you're in your net. You know, and as long as you can deliver that, and I say it's guaranteed. You do the work, you're gonna lose it. You don't do the work, you won't, and that's it. And so far, I haven't had anyone not lose it, which is great.
Yeah.
You know, so once they see that taking place, then you can start to work on some other things. You know, so I do an assessment based on all the stuff that I've taken pieces from. So some of that animal movement stuff, breath work, and then the neurology type of things, you know, your balance and those. So the assessment brings in all of those so that people have a clear picture of
they got a scorecard.
Where they're at.
Yeah, they got a scorecard. Yeah.
You got a scorecard.
This is what Richard had told me about. Like, I think he went to you for.
Yeah.
He's like, you need to check this out. He says my right leg balance is good and lifts, and I was like, you know what, that's so fascinating because assessments is one thing that I think all PTs should do.
Yes.
That we've kind of moved away from because it's about, right, okay, let's just get you that 10 pound loss.
Yeah.
And it's going, well, let's actually give a baseline. We've got obviously measurements, weight and the scales, which is common ones. Yeah. But how your body moves is something we massively overlook.
We certainly do. We certainly do.
So talk about your assessment then, if you can get into some of that.
I'll ask you, what's one of the fears that you have or your clients have about getting older? What are their biggest fears or biggest things that they come up against, or that you know yourself that older people have?
Low back pain.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, so it's probably to stem with like
knee pain.
Not being able to do the things they could do in their younger self. That's really what it all breaks down to. And ironically, as you said, like people just think that's just part and parcel of getting older.
Yep.
And it's probably harder for us to communicate. So like, hey, you're young. You don't know what it's like to be old. And I'm like, well, look at this guy. Look at you, like Rob, the juggling and then being able to squat and all the different things that you can do at one time. But yeah, to me, it's that's probably the most common.
Well,
one.
it is. And you're right on, because there's no wrong answer. You know, they all play a part. And then when you start to talk to older people, one of the fears is, you know, falling, breaking something, as you're not going to recover from that. So I think there's a statistic out there that once someone over the age of 65 breaks their hip, within basically 4 or 5 years, they're dead.
Yeah. I think it's like over 50% of 65-year-olds, if they fall, they die. Like, it's crazy how worrying that is. Like, you have half a chance of living.
Yeah,
if you fall.
It's massive. It's huge. It's huge. Yeah. So I look at all of that type of stuff, and hence where the physical pension comes in. And you go, right, what do you want to do when you're 80 and 90 years of age? And most people go, I still want to do the things that I want to do. Well, what is that?
Figure it out.
Yeah, figure it out. What do you want to do? Where do you want to go? How do you want to be? Right. What are you doing to make that happen? Fucking nothing. So how's it going to happen? Just going to hope it's going to happen.
It's a dream.
It's a dream. It's a dream. It's the same as, you know, like you go and do Richard stuff. What do you want? How much money you want? Well, this much. Well, what are you doing to make it happen?
Yeah, nothing.
Nothing. Right. That ain't going to happen. Yeah, so it's that type of thing, you know. Or you hear people saying, "I want to go and, you know, walk some of the mountains." Can you walk the mountains now? You're 50 years of age. Can you walk them down? No, you've got fuck all chance of doing it when you're 70. It's not going to happen unless you start to do it. But what we can do now is start to do part of the assessment to go, I think everything works in a hierarchy. So if you can't stand on one leg with your eyes shut for more than 10 seconds. Your vestibular system is out of whack. There's no use doing fucking back squats. You've got something else bigger that the body needs to work on. Doesn't mean you can't do back squats, because we're going to use them in the process, but you've got some other stuff going on. Yeah. If you just, you know, and that's probably one of the simplest type of things that's happening.
Down,
So I've got a guy at the moment who's 74, and his son got in contact with me that I know, and I've been working with him now for about 2 months, and he's changed completely because he started to, you know, the shuffle. Yeah. When that starts to happen, you know the shit's going downhill.
Shuffling
your feet.
You're
not lifting up anymore.
Yeah.
And you go, what's the go with that?
He's dragging. Right, okay, I get you.
Yeah, what's the go? And it's like, just, you know, and you go, well, what are you scared of? Well, I don't want to fall. So we know we've got strength issues that are going
Confidence
on there. Confidence is going on there. So you go, right, let's have a look and see what your balance is like. Okay, so we've got some proprioception shit happening in your ankle. Your brain's not actually seeing your feet anymore because you're not doing anything for your feet. So we've got to start to do some work on wiggling your toes and get your ankles to move and starting to get that confidence. But it's kind of like, as well, when you think about it, your body and the nervous system's just there to protect you. And that's it. It wants to keep you alive. So if you're not seeing, this is where it all comes together. If you're not seeing the world, and we start to do that, and that's all you see, your body's going to change based on what your vision is. So if you can't see everything, your body's going to start to just shuffle the feet. So what do we do to bring in more vision? We do vision drills, or we teach you how to juggle. Because now your peripheral vision is kicking in, right and left brain's kicking in, and you're starting to see the world differently. You've got coordination taking place. So this is where, even though juggling is a skill and it's kind of fun, I use it for not the purpose of juggling. I use it as the purpose of getting the reflexes to fire fast in people. So they start to pay attention. Right, ball's coming. Right, there you go. Throw a ball at you. Right, there it is there. Instead of got it in the face. Do you know what I mean? Because one day you might trip.
You need that reaction.
And you need that reaction. So I use it for that. And it doesn't have to be, you can't three-ball juggle. I don't care. Throw a ball up against the wall and catch it. Happy days. Throw one, throw two.
Yeah, so many different ways to
do it. I just use that as a way to get them to start to think about their body, and that's part of the aging process. Because if you can start to fix that, then you start to get confident again. And then all of a sudden it's like, fuck, everything's neck rotations, because everything starts to tighten up. Because your body goes, well, not sure what's going on here. Am I in danger? I'm just going to make it all, and then I'm just going to make it, and it goes downhill.
And then the lack of using some of these muscles, the atrophy and all the other stuff.
All of it.
It's funny you say that, because you're so quick to dismiss that, because you come up in maybe a random social media scroll and it's like, oh, there's a guy juggling, dismissed, without actually thinking about the other thing. You're doing and I've gave you a wee bit of shit for it, but it's only a bit of joke, but the difference of jumping and landing on your different foot, because the performance stuff that you're doing.
As I said before, like, I got a bit of imposter syndrome doing the course, and you said about standing on one leg. The assessment in the course is stand on one leg, and then once you stand on one leg for a specific amount of time, you jump down and see if they can land. And then that's the assessment, and you've just to watch how the body moves. And then you can start for there. Now it's like you're saying that, I'm like, it's all making sense.
I'm on the right path.
But it makes sense.
It makes sense. It just makes sense. You know, and that might be, you might find that. So we do both legs, obviously, because you might find that one side. So I look at it as a way to assess the different canals. So go like, so you can stand on your right leg for argument's sake, and they can close their eyes and they stand there nice and solid, and it's like, right, great. You put it on your left leg and they're all overshot.
Dominant
right, I've got some stuff I've got to do here. So then I'll do maybe an affinity walk where they walk in a figure eight pattern, to try and recalibrate some of the canals. Or this is where the bear rotations or the crawling patterns. So if someone's got vestibular problems, then which is the balance mechanism. So, forward folds and coming back up again. People that suffer from vertigo, I've had, I work with that type of, so it's kind of like, right, let's just slowly drop your head down into a squat position and then come back up. Right, now stand on one leg again. Okay, right, that didn't work. Right, let's go down and rotate to the left. Come back up, now stand on one leg again. Well, that's better. Your body likes that.
Just try to create this new pathway, or reestablish this pathway. Because I think one thing everybody forgets, and the lack of self-belief in older people that I find, it's like they've already written themselves off, and sometimes it's such a battle to go, here, look, we can reestablish this younger self that you seen yourself as, and that's what I love, the idea of the stuff that you put out with even the Silver Fox formula and the kind of all target set here. You don't need to be just this old bag of dicks.
No, definitely.
You can get after it.
You can.
And it's all about the appropriate level where you're coming into that, and establishing that is the key thing.
Is the key.
That's it's the thing that annoys me about fitness sometimes. It's like, you ask any person, myself and Cody, I get into this to be the big jack guy, and bodybuilding was the aspiration I had when I first came in. And what that done to my circle of friends and my family is that's where they think fitness is. And I'm like, no, I've done a poor job at the start, but now I'm trying to pull them back into it. And you've done a great job with your dad, getting your dad into lifting weights and how he's seen that, and
I changed my message as well. I was the same. Everyone in my family thought it's all about 6-pack abs, taking your top off. And I was like, oh, I'm wrong. I met him and I was like, I'm wrong, by the way. And maybe 9 months later, he's like, oh, I start the gym. I was like, let's do it. And he loves it now. He's always in. And I'm like,
wicked.
If I kept that message up, I would have put them off forever, though. Forever and ever. He would never have ever took that step.
Yeah.
Well, I'm constantly fighting that. And it was only like from the age of 16 to the age of 21, 22, I went to do my first like back squat because I seen like they were good movements and I was like, let me try one. And 21 years old, I couldn't hold the bar. My mobility was, and I was like, that's not like you. It's like, that can't be good.
Yeah.
The older I get, and then started working on mobility, range of motion and all that sort of stuff. So can we go back to the assessment and how did you come? So what is the different pillars? It's like 100-point assessment, am I right in saying that? Or have you like simplified it?
It's kind of like a 100-point assessment. So I wanted something that I could use with everyone to get an idea of where they were in their current state. And then me being me was like, right, if you can get X amount of a score, then your body's in a decent shape to be able to go and do, let's say, more calisthenic stuff, you know, if you wanted to. So it was, and it's, everyone loves a number. Let's face it. You know, what'd you score? What'd you score? Oh, I got this.
That's why BMI was so popular back in the day. Yeah, like it's fucking shit now, but I think everybody associates that and your weight in the scales.
Yeah, what was your number? So the assessment goes through, right, the first thing I check is how you breathe. You know, how many breaths per minute are you taking and what's your bolt score? Because that's going to tell me so much about your breathing function. Yeah. And then from there, I go into the balance stuff, and then I go, right, I changed it just recently because I was going to say, what's a standard that people can do? Can people do 5 push-ups, 5 pull-ups, and whatever it was? So it's kind of like, right, excuse me. So I changed it to how many push-ups can you do in 20 seconds? How many push-ups or pull-ups can you do in 20 seconds? Can you do a dip, or how many can you do in 20 seconds? You know, they're just the basic kind of movements. And then from there, I'll be able to then kind of like allocate a score, and with a couple of other movements in there as well, you know, bear rotations, and can you touch your toes, and can you get your fingers to touch your toes? Can you get your hands flat on the floor? What's your, you know, just general stuff like that. To then get to give people an idea of, right, you can do 20 push-ups in 20 seconds. Great. You can't do a dip. Okay, righto. You can't do a pull-up. Okay. You know, your squats are great. You've got 15 of them in 20 seconds. Brilliant. But you can't stand on one leg for more than 5 seconds. Yeah. Okay. Your breathing is, you know, your bolt score is at, you know, 10. Okay. We've got some stuff we can work on. Yeah. We've got some areas. You want your bolt score over 25. Yeah. That's going to be the baseline. You know, how many breaths per minute are you taking? Because we know that if you're a rapid breather, you're probably driving your sympathetic nervous system more often. So you're going to be out of breath. You're always in a stress state. You know, so it's kind of like, right, cool, what else do you do? I'm into Wim Hof at the moment. Okay, cool. Probably not do that because you're not breathing functionally well at any rate. So let's not make it worse. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, and people go, oh, well, no one's ever told me this before.
So you're drawing conclusions to their lifestyle and seeing, right, because it's always a fascinating thing when you do an assessment with a client and then you go, oh, I take it you've had some issues with your left leg because you can see how the balance is, and they're like, how do you know? It's like, well, it's just kind
of telling me. You know, simple stuff like that.
I like it.
And then what I like about it is we can then go back in, you know, 3 months' time and go, right, let's do it again. Where you at? Right, bolt scores are over 20. Sweet. You're taking less breaths. Brilliant. You can, push-ups are still the same. Fantastic. But now you can do a couple of dips, so you're getting stronger. You know, it's just something that people can measure.
Yeah, it's not just weight in the scale. Oh, it's the same. What else has happened?
Which I have this one as well. So for my clients that have scales, you know, it's I don't really give a shit about the weight. What I want to know is the body fat. I want to know your hydration level. I want to know your visceral fat, and I want to know your muscle mass. Give me those numbers.
How are you measuring that? Do you just do old school calipers, or have you got the impedance? No, or what do you do?
I kind of get most of my clients now. It doesn't have to be super accurate.
Just the same snapshot.
It's the same snapshot. Yeah, and that's it. So you go, right, where are we at? What do you got? Right, is that true? I don't know. Probably not. Your body fat's at 28%. Is it right? Probably not.
But as long as that same metric comes down or moves in the direction you want it to.
Absolutely. Yeah, and what I don't want to see is, I'm dropping weight, yeah, but you're dropping muscle mass, man.
Aye.
You're dropping all of that, you know? That's not cool.
No, it's not the game that we're looking for.
That's not the game. That's not the game that I'm on.
Yeah.
The game I'm on is you to bring those down and your muscle mass to go up. Yeah. Unless, of course, you're mega muscly already.
Yeah.
You maybe be healthier, maybe a bit less.
Yeah.
There's one thing that you spoke about, the 4 animal patterns.
Yeah.
Right? People listening will be like, what the fuck's that? I want to hear more about like
what
they are and what they move, what they do.
So
why they do them.
The bear,
to the toilet real quick.
The bear, the monkey, the frogger, and the crab.
Right.
Yeah. Well, you know the saying, you would have heard it. You got to learn to walk before you can crawl. You've got to learn to crawl before you can walk. Sorry, yeah. It's kind of going back to that pattern of doing that. So in a quadruped position, hands on the ground, knees underneath your hips, but not touching the floor, and just crawling forward and backwards.
Right.
Yeah. Sounds really easy.
Oh, no, it's not. I know it's not.
Yeah.
I know it's not. And most people watching would be like, that does sound easy, but it does sound easy. No.
But it's not. It does sound
maybe
easy.
5 seconds, you're like, fuck.
I did. I ran a seminar in Octorata for a bunch of physios and so forth, and we said, right, let's get these movements going. And within couple of minutes, they're all going, this is fucking really hard. Yeah, it's difficult because it shows your weaknesses.
Yeah.
It just shows where you are. And I think what I love about it so much is you can manipulate the position to make it harder. Yeah, so as
bend
you get
the knees
better,
a little bit more.
Yeah, as you get stronger, you can have your knees up and your bum up a little bit higher. Yeah, so you're crawling, so it's loading up the shoulders a little bit more. You're going forwards because you're driving with your legs, but when you go backwards, you're now driving with your shoulders. So you've got all these abilities. And then with what I really like is the monkey. So think of the monkey as just sitting in a really low squat,
right?
Yeah, and then transitioning sideways,
right?
Yeah, but trying to stay upright. So the hands are only just in front of your feet.
So you still have hands on the floor?
Hands on the floor. So we go into a squat, hands are on the floor, we transition the hands over to the side, load the hands up. So now the weights, and then you just scoot your body across.
Right.
And keep it nice and low. So you're looking at your really deep end range squat. And the upper body power to hold your body up and control. So, and it's one of those things that doing, this is the difference, isn't it? Doing shit fast is sometimes easy. Because you've got momentum doing it all. Doing stuff really, really slow
makes you focus.
Really challenging and makes you focus.
Yeah.
Doing stuff really, really slow. So that's what I like about all of that. So, and you can manipulate it again so that you take legs, especially with the monkey and the frogger, you can take the legs out of the equation by putting them on sliders or on a towel.
Right.
So your feet are now on a towel and they've got to slide at the same pace as each other, and you watch your core burn. Which is interesting when you talk about, looking at core strength and six packs and so forth. So I was in Montenegro a few months, it was actually last year now, and I took my son there with me because
you done was that like the rite of passage type of thing? Was that what you were doing with him?
Kind of, yeah. What it was though I wanted him to. It's all good and well being a parent and going, mate, I think it's great to be doing this stuff, and look at dad, what he does and, investment and whatever it may be. But then to have your son go and see other people doing the same stuff or go and see what your dad does and the way he does it compared to what other people, and go, hang on a second, actually, Dad's not too bad. Dad's got an idea.
He's doing all right.
He's doing all right. Dad's got it. So I wanted him to, and they talk to other guys, like yourselves, who come in and go, what are you doing fitness-wise? And and so when he come back from there, he's doing his push-ups and squats every day, and it was brilliant. It was fantastic. But when we were there, it was kind of like guys are talking about, they're all in shape. They've all got six packs, they all look good. It's like, right, how strong are they? Because there's a difference. There's a difference between having a six-pack and being strong.
Functional,
Yeah? So it's like, right, let's go through some of my core workouts with his hollow bodies and different things and holding positions. Yeah, where you might be in a hollow body, hollow body hold, the handstand kind of thing, gymnastic stuff, where you hold that tension and I push on your feet and your body should move up and down.
Yeah.
Not moving from your pelvis. Yeah, to be able to hold that tension all the way through, which then comes into the next level of bodyweight stuff, which goes into your front levers. Yeah, and it's kind of like, that's showing what your core's like. So they're all strong. You go, fuck, can't do that though. Just go, it's not as strong as what you think it is. Looks fucking great. Don't get me wrong. but it's not as strong as what it could be. Because I think still there's that perception that the bigger you are, the stronger you are.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if you saw the guys, I don't even know what account it was. It was on IG the other week. Guy were doing rows, and they were massive. They were ginormous. They were on the machine, and they're leaning up against the bar, and they're doing. And they got, I don't know how much weight was on it, but it's humongous. Like, these guys are ginormous. They got a rock climber.
And he
could come in.
It was Larry Wheels and Juju Mufu.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, got a rock climber.
Aye. That was mad. That was mad. You see that?
He's like a tenth of the size.
Just like fucking. And the guys are going, what the fuck?
What's happening here?
He's still doing the same weight as us. He's still going. Do you know what I mean? So it's just different.
It's strength related. I think people notice that more with. I definitely knew myself when I was getting bigger. My range of motion, I was losing it because I wasn't challenging those range of motions. Like you said, even at the young age of 19, 20, I was tunnel vision to this kind of shortened path and getting the muscle pump. And yes, that might be good for an element of growth, but functionality, it done fuck all for me.
Yeah. I think you can have both.
You can, because that's one thing I realised, my legs got bigger from doing full range or working on my full range of motion squat than it did doing all the machines. And maybe that was an element of I got stagnant, and that's my body was adapted to those machines. So challenging it with a new range was the best thing that you could do. What was the thing for you then? What was there any like pivotal moments that you were like, man, like, so obviously you had the thing with your shoulders and your body was pretty beat up and you started finding these other range of motions, but what was the thing for you that kind of made you go down more this sort of, what did you just fall naturally into it when you done the GMB stuff, or?
No, I think when you sit back and you actually have a look at your life and you be honest with yourself and you go, okay, I've got some shit going on. Yeah. And I'm not just talking physical stuff. You're going to go and you can have a look at the way you think. Yeah, and how you react to stuff. Are you quick at jumping on top of someone, or are you able to take information in? So it was kind of like I need to. Not that I'm not. Well, I've got an aggressive nature. Don't get me wrong. If the switch goes off, it goes off. I just kind of work on making sure it doesn't. So it's that type of, which is competitive. You've got to have a bit of a mongrel in you. Yeah. So it's kind of like learning how to manage that, and then with other things that I've had going on in my life, I had a period where I had an episode where my left-hand side of my body went haywire. I saw some as a neurological event, and I saw like a lightning bolt went up and then lost all power down my left side. Face drooped. It was like all dizzy, fell over. It was like, fuck, what's going on here? This is all crazy stuff. So it's kind of like, there's more stuff that I've got to learn. There's more stuff I need to do. So, go to the hospital and have all the tests and, got the things in your arms, and I had a lumbar punch because they wanted to check out what the spinal fluid was like. The most painful fucking thing.
I was going to say, that is not nice.
That is not pleasant. But being fit and healthy was good. I have the doctors coming around and the nurses like waking you up when you're asleep because my heart rate was really low. So they're like, "You okay? Yeah, fuck us to sleep." Because it was pretty low.
What they're used to,
just trying to work out some other stuff. So that's where all the neurology stuff started to come into play, which is why I do the juggling, which is why I do the handstands, which is why I'm trying to learn another language. It's why I'm trying to keep this thing going as much as possible. Listening to more podcasts, listening to more audiobooks, trying to absorb information,
stimulate,
to keep this ticking over.
Do you think that's very valuable, or almost just as valuable as the movement stuff for people? Do you think for all people, or especially
everyone? It's we get complacent. It's we live in a world where people don't react until something major's fucking happened.
Yeah. Sometimes it can be a little too late at that point, but
and then they still don't see it. You know what I mean? And we all have people that we know, and we may have done it ourselves. It could be whatever. You start to feel better, and you go, "Hey, I'm all right now."
Yeah, you think that's it? Complete.
I'm all right.
I'm sorted.
I'm all right.
I'm all right.
Yeah.
I'm sorted. There's another level. There's always another level.
Yeah.
And that's where I think it's kind of just trying to help people.
Yeah.
And that's what we do, isn't it? We just try to help people.
Got a question for the two of you. I seen a podcast the other day, right? So Chris Williamson was asked, mental health or physical health first, what would you say? What would you put first before the other?
I'd go physical, because I think the physical helps the mental.
So I would agree with that now, especially after like the researching over the last couple of months. I was like, I think I've been doing things wrong. And then especially you saying that, the physical health will help that neuroplasticity, and that'll build the bridges.
Yeah, it's a toughie, isn't it? Because, you know, when you break it, if you break that down to the base layers, someone that is in that state, they're not going to want to do it.
I know.
They're not going to. We know it's going to be great for them, but they're not going to want to do it.
The thing is, you take all the movement part away, right, and you have someone who's in a low mental state. Doesn't matter how many self-help books, how much motivational talk they get, how much they learn another language or whatever it is they do. Like, the endorphin and the rush come from moving your body, whether that is juggling.
Yeah.
I got 3 juggles in a row. Never done that before.
Absolutely.
That little win and those small, the small little rewards that you can get from moving your body, like the fresh air, the wilderness, all that sort of stuff. I think you need it.
Mental illness and is such a hard one. It's such a hard one, because we know we can just say this. We can encourage them to do that, and we know it's going to have benefits, but they're not in the state of wanting to do that, if that makes sense. So it's kind of like, you know, how do you overcome that? How do you break that barrier? You know, if you break that barrier, or if you work out the formula to help that, you're onto a fucking gold mine.
Yeah.
Not that you should be doing it for the money, but, you know, it's
the
money
course,
will come from that. You know, but if you could come up with a formula that got people out of that somber of that,
you're winning. Yeah.
Oh.
So what's your opinion? So you are of the generation, outside, active, grown up, and I guess mental health. Not that it's a buzzword, but we're more aware in this day and age than we probably were with your guys growing up. What's your thoughts on the younger generation these days then? Especially having two young kids that are going to come up through that, which I do want to get onto the parent side of thing, but just your opinion on it just now.
I think today it's we're just making it up as we go. Do you know, it's difficult. You know, part of me just wants to say fucking get on with it, and the other part's like, well, there's something there that needs to be talked about. What is it that's going on? Computers are the biggest problem in the world today, and the amount of time that, you know, like you were just saying, how you fucking saw 1,000 videos. You know what I mean?
Get your screen time report. It's like 18 hours on your phone. You're like, what? 18 hours?
Yeah. It's like, hey, what's going on there? You know, so, and that's we know that the companies that make and the designers behind these games and stuff are very clever.
Oh, aye.
Because they are just designed, and I know with my son, you know, he plays Minecraft, and he just
what a game!
If you just left him to it,
he'd be gone.
He'd be on it forever. Yeah, but the change in the attitude and the mental state when you try to get him off, and then for the next hour and a half afterwards, is horrendous. You know, I didn't have that. I just wasn't wired that way. We had that game, you know, the Tetris. Ding,
that was that.
Simplistic.
Ding, ding. This is shit. Let's go. You know what I mean? So that was it. You know, we had computer games. We had Donkey Kong and stuff. But it just wasn't my thing.
No, it's different.
It just didn't gel.
So I was listening to a productivity podcast the other day, and they said there's a couple of differences between some games. Some games are online built to be addictive. Some games are story modes. Story modes are not as addictive because they don't give you that dopamine as much. You just get the enjoyment out of playing the story. Yes. And the story's the story, like any movie. It's obviously got some detriment, but the difference between an online game and a story game is massive. And he was like, if you're going to play any game, play a story mode, because you can put that down at any point and go, right, I might want to play that more, but I'm still alright going off it. You want to win that next game.
Yes.
Like, you're not trying to beat the story mode so much, you're just trying to enjoy
complete
the story.
So I'm 30 years old. I'm a massive gamer. I grew up gaming, but I was always caught between gaming and fitness.
Yes.
And I was nearly making a career out of the gaming side of things, but I was, once upon a time, I was going to combine them both, and I think there is a market there for it. But at 30 years old, I can play the game like James says, where it's like you and 60 other people and you winning out of those 60 people, I've said to him before, like my heart rate will go up to 140 being in that top 5 scenario, and and then when you win the game you're like, what a buzz, give me that again. And at 30 years old I'm trying to pull myself off it, and I'm like, man, that's hard, fucking miserable. Like my wife, she'll text me, it's like, when like you coming to bed and all that sort of stuff, and I'm like,
I just want to win.
I just want to win. And I'm like, I'm in my late 20s, and I'm like, why am I talking like that? Why am I annoyed? But the emotional state. So
as a 14-year-old.
So as a parent, like, what's maybe some of your biggest concerns with your sons growing up?
They just spend too much time. It's just a time factor.
How are you balancing that?
We try to set boundaries. So I kind of set a standard where doesn't always work. Don't take this as a parent.
I don't think anything will.
It doesn't fucking. It's hard.
Not in this day and age.
So we've got a habit tracker for the 14-year-old, and it's kind of like, right, you've got 5.5 hours for the week where you can go on on your thing, and what we're doing now to really manage it is I've got him, right, you're going to go on with your mate, cool. What time you going on? Okay, you're going to play for how long? An hour, perfect. Right, you sign it, I'll sign it. Right. Done. It's contract.
So you know, and they know that you know.
Yeah. Doesn't always work.
No, because
doesn't always work. So you get the but it didn't get on until half an hour into it. And there was some uploading issues. So I don't care.
Wait, you see, to be fair, understandable.
I don't
true
care.
game time.
I'm a parent. I don't care. You've been on that for an hour. Right, time to get off. I just got to win.
Oh, you need that win, but then you can't finish the game on the win.
just got to win.
Aye.
Right, how long is it going to take to win? Won't be long. Give it to me in minutes. 2 minutes. Right, okay. 15 minutes. 15 minutes later. Have you won yet? No, nearly about to win. I'm deducting that off tomorrow. Yeah.
Is this Minecraft?
I was going to say you can't win. You can't win Minecraft.
He's cheating you.
So he plays with his mate, and they play against other people or something like that.
Yeah, it'll be like survival mode or something.
So he's doing that. So we try our best. In managing it.
I can imagine that being one of.
And then there's challenges. You don't get to go on for the rest of the week now. You've lost your.
You've done it all. You've lost
your time, and that creates a headache. And then a couple of days later, it's
gone.
It's okay. Right. Can I get 6 hours? Fuck off. You're lucky you got 5.5. You should be having 4. If it was up to me, you'd only have half an hour each day. That's it. Finished.
Is that Louise?
Well, it's a combination, Louise, it got to the point where it was just, it gets difficult, So it's kind of like, right, I don't want to deal with it anymore. Right, I'll deal with it. I'll do it with how I deal with it. And I'm a bit of an arrogant prick. And this is how it's going to roll.
What's your biggest worry with the kids growing up in this day and age then?
The lack of motivation, the lack of desire, the lack of getting out and seeing the world, the lack of, is this, we just wanted to play, we just wanted to, and it's kind of like, I've got other guys that go, oh, your kids are so lucky, seeing you around the house, walking up the stairs and doing front levers off the stairs and doing pull-ups and muscle-ups. And I said, they don't fucking do it.
They will do it at one point.
I was going to say,
they will at one point. They will at one, at some stage down the line, they'll go, actually, what mum and dad were advocating is probably pretty clever. Wish I'd taken it on board. But I can't force them. So it's like,
they just try to be an inspiration at some point.
So they walk out the backyard, into our backyard, and we've got the rig set up, the weight rig there, and then I've got Olympic rings hanging up everywhere around the house. They've got Olympic rings hanging up in their door frames.
Aye.
Yeah?
Just playing, they probably just swing it
when they walk through. Yeah?
Aye.
Do you know what I mean? So it's kind of like, you got the box jumps in the lounge room where I do my pistol squats and stuff. It's there. With the hope that
one day
they'll do a little bit.
One day.
With a little bit.
I will. They'll slowly bleed into their lives, and it'll probably be like a compliment from a girl, and it's like, oh, Dad, can you show us how to do this? And then that'll evolve into,
that's it.
What are they showing interest in just now? Is it everything?
It's really interesting. It's interesting being a parent. Some families that I've spoken to, their kids are into stuff. You know, they already know what they want to do. Fuck, I didn't know what I wanted to do until I was 44.
No.
You know what I mean? I've done that many different jobs in my life. It's ridiculous. So I think trying to pigeonhole them, and that's part of the school problem as well. Yeah. I went to the parent
careers day at the age of 15.
Yeah,
I thought I wanted to be a lawyer in high school, and I was like, I don't want to be a lawyer, just because my mum was like, no, a lawyer's a good job set for life, and I'm like, okay, and then I was like, I don't know if I want to do this.
Yeah. So it's kind of like, you know, I didn't know what I wanted to do really. So I think at the end of the day, all we want is nice humans that are nice to other people, and can think for themselves. And I think that there's a lot of kids out there that can't. That and I can only say it. I think it's computers and stuff. They just spend so much time in. Well, it's you know when you grew up, you crash your bike, you have a wrestle with your mate, you punch him a couple of times, it fucking hurts. Kids today have no idea what that's like. They wouldn't have a clue of what it's like to be hit
and
or punch someone and then get back up again. Yeah, it's a different.
Yeah, do you think that it's part to play with the mentality, like the younger guys and girls now?
Yeah, very much so. Very much so. You know, if I could run the world, you know, what you got in next door there, every child would have to go through some type of martial art training, self-protection, to grow some strength, to get some ideas, some confidence, you know, hitting a bag, being hit, you know, getting that. That's real world stuff. You're going to get hit in life. Not be physical, but you will be hit by a
rejection,
multitude of different things. And I think this is where it all leads back into the training, you know.
How are you going to get training, or is there any sort of training protocol you're getting your kids to do just now, or are you just kind of letting them find their feet just now?
My youngest does gymnastics.
Right.
Yeah.
Class. Yeah, that's meant to be
class. Powerful, he's so strong for 8. He's unbelievable. Unreal.
He's doing things you're like, oh fuck, I need to step my game up.
I have to. Yeah. I want to get him into martial arts because he's that way inclined. He's a rocket, but he's not ready for it yet. He doesn't take the, you know. So no, I bless him. He goes to an MMA fighter coach on a Friday night. Do you guys into the MMA stuff, the UFC?
Not a bit of it, but when they say like we're diehard fans of that,
yeah. So he's Eamon Cram's his name actually. He's a cracker. He's a Kyokushin fighter,
right?
And then he went MMA, he went to Japan and so forth, and he went to Mexico just recently for UFC. One of his students. So he's gone in. So we do some training. He does some training with him. Right. And when Luis actually started training with him.
Oh really?
So I trained with him when I was when he was 16. So we did Kyokushin together, and then he ventured out and got into octagon fighting, and he's
different level now.
he's just
different.
He knows how to hurt people. And that's what he basically said. What do you want to do tonight? So sometimes I go and train when either of them can't do it. And he go, what are we going to teach you tonight? We go, mate, let's learn how to hurt people. Go, right.
Sounds good.
It's hard.
Sounds good.
It's hard.
So you're training just now, like why is it you're doing this style of training and being a student of the game and looking to inspire, help other people? What would you say that?
Competition is good. Competition, we got the end game. We know what that is. You know, I'm going to live till I'm 113. That's it. And tapping out 113. Fucking lights out.
That's the goal.
That's the goal. That's the goal. So, and I don't think people think about themselves in that way. Now, I know Paul does. Yeah, Paul McFadden, he's like, you know, he's going to live to over 100, 120, I reckon. That's bullshit.
But his 80th birthday, you'll be at his funeral like that.
Yeah.
Told you, fucker. Yeah. You never stuck with me.
Yeah. So, you know, it's when you talk to a lot of people, you talk to most people and you go, right, how old do you want to get to? What do you want to, and they're like,
don't know.
I don't know. Right? Why don't you know?
Weird, isn't it? Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Never thought that far ahead.
Never thought that far ahead. You just wait until you get to some point and then you're going to do something. You know, so the training and the stuff that I do now is let's face it, the last decade of your life is either going to be good or it's going to be shit, like really shit. Someone changing your pants, someone pushing you around, you know. It's kind of like, when you think about it, you go, and I can understand why most people don't want to think about it. It's kind of like, it's fucking miserable. You know,
it's wild to me that not most people, but a lot of people will see someone very close to them go through that and still don't do anything.
Well, this is common.
It's just like
we've all done that. I don't want to be like that when I get older.
Yeah, but
like, what are you doing to not be like that?
Fuck all.
So see the argument against that. Like, are you a big believer that if you put in the work and you put in the graft, through the people that you've trained and reversed their, I guess, their biological age, if you want to look at it that way. But the argument I always hear back is, that sometimes you just can't help it. And that's to an extent with some disease, isn't it?
Absolutely.
But how do you, like, the argument I feel back, sometimes I have to bite my tongue because it's usually like close friends and family. And it's like, how do you know? How do you know this won't help? And surely you want to try, then not do anything at all.
That's the different side of the brain, isn't it? That's the openness side of the brain to go, let's have a crack at it. And if it works, it works. And if it doesn't work, well, I'll find out when I get there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I'm willing to put my money on that one.
Well, you also told me when we were sitting here before we started, I was like, I probably want to do Olympic weightlifting now before I get older and I'm not as powerful. And you're like, that's just a mindset. It's the same thing.
Mindset.
If you have that mindset that you can't do it at 40, 50,
it's going to come in.
Like, you're right.
So,
you're never going to push yourself to be able to fix it.
I'm looking at doing some Olympic lifting now. Never lifted over, I struggled lifting up above my head.
Yeah.
So I was like, right, do I really want to do it? One part of me years ago would have been, it's fucking, you're going to break yourself. But now how things are moving, I can see there's an opening there where things are starting to get better. Yeah. And you go, okay, so what would be, this is just a question, what would be the one movement that shows strength, mobility, coordination? I think there's one.
Snatch?
Overhead squat.
Aye.
Overhead squat. Have you seen the Turkish get up? Yeah. Seen that? I seen two guys do it with a barbell. And they had like 200 kilo on. They're trying to do it synced up together.
Yeah. Something like that. If you go, right, can you get into an overhead squat position?
It's hard.
It's fucking hard.
It's hard.
Right, you can do it. Okay, your heels are raised. Doesn't matter. But you can still get into that position. Your shoulders are good enough to hold a bar above your head. Doesn't have to be heavy, but you can get in and you can do. You've got lovely extension through the spine. Yeah, your hips are opened up nicely because you're in a nice deep squat. You've got control. Mate, that is a cracking move. Can you do it? No. Okay, there's a little goal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's the thing with what I'm working
That's me right now as well.
That's what I'm working on now. So I do it with a stick, piece of bamboo.
Dough.
Yeah, and you go, right, actually, I can kind of nearly get into that position.
Well, we done a snatch, and how bad was it?
I know, but the weird thing about that, I watched a couple of YouTube videos, spent about 45 minutes to an hour working on how tight my lats were and different things, and then retested it, and I was like, wow, look how quickly my body's changed and I'll be able to do that. And that to me, I want to encourage so many different people, just try different things because we're pigeonholed to this little
so it's
modality.
Like handstands. Yeah. It's like doing handstands. Why do you do handstands? And people go, I want to learn, it looks cool and all that. So it is cool, overhead strength and stuff like that. But it's another one for the brain. And that's it, like hand balancing, frog stands and crow poses and elbow levers. The brain has to pay attention to what's going on. And I go, that's cool. That's cool. Yes, you're going to build some unbelievable strength at the same time.
So I'll ask you two questions here. If you had to pick 5 movements that helped increase your kind of that brain coordination, everything that you're talking about, left, right, side, what would be your 5 go-to movements?
5 go-to movements. It'd have to be crawling patterns. Yeah. You can pick any one of them. Doesn't matter. Bear, monkey, frogger.
Why? So what's the intent behind? Just because you're moving everything, like your joints and everything in a horizontal plane?
Every or you can change it, yeah. So it's good for the vestibular as well. So you can go from bear into monkey, yeah. So your head's going up and down and up and down, So I like all that stuff because it's got so many other variables. And if you were to bring in, like a bear rotation, now we've got the canals spinning as well. And you've got the coordination of doing stuff slow.
And gravity pulling you down now.
Absolutely. So you'd have to have a look at that. Handstands for anyone.
Really, yeah.
Everyone should be doing handstands.
Right. I tried to do, remember I done calisthenics for 5 weeks and it was handstands against the wall and I was like,
that's perfect.
I was holding it for 3 seconds at the start. I was like, that's wow, perfect. Fuck, this is hard.
That's it. So we have this thing in the fitness industry, don't we? It's like, right, you've got to learn how to do handstands. And what do you automatically envision? someone burn
straight
up and down like a handstand.
Yeah. What do you try? You try straight to that first level.
Mate, I go, we're just going to get you to feel what it's like through the wrist to start with, and then kick up against the wall if we can. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a handstand. Mm-hmm. Holding yourself up on your
hands.
Crow pose. It's a handstand. Yeah, so we have this, that's a built-in mechanism that you have already built in of what it should be.
Yeah.
Should be perfect. It's like, fuck off. No one's perfect.
Nothing's perfect.
Nothing's perfect.
It's like a 250 kilo squat or something. That's just not how you squat first. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
You know what I mean? So it's kind of like I would go into that. Then I would bring in the unconventional stuff, the juggling, and probably something like a bit of rope flow.
What's that? Like
rope flow?
Yeah.
It's like a skipping rope, but you do it in all different patterns.
Ah, right. Okay. So you're challenging.
That's what I'm trying to know. But I'm shite at skipping. That's what I'm trying to get better.
You know, so stuff like that. You know, so it's strength elements are in there, but then you've got all of the visual aspect and the coordination aspect built into it as well. You know, if you said some movements for purely strength, if you're already at a stage of doing that, then I'd probably go, you know, your pistol squats and your muscle ups combined with handstands.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah, and that.
See, if you're juggling, are you juggling? Try to focus on juggling both ways or just one way?
Both.
Both. Like
whatever we do one way, we do the other way.
Yeah.
Whatever we do one side, we do the other side. So, you know, when the kids and I play tennis or badminton or so forth, we practice with the bat in the other hand.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Get that, and I'll tell you what happens if you do play racket sports of some description, play with in an opposite hand as your part of your warm up, and then see what happens afterwards.
Yeah, sharp, fired,
so sharp.
Mm-hmm.
So
sharp. See these sort of movements that you called out. You found them in your 40s. Most of those movements you found in your 40s.
All of them.
Yeah.
All of them.
How much of an impact do you think that'd make to you as an individual if you'd done them earlier? Is it one of them you're kicking yourself and going, I wish
if I know, it's so cliche, if I know what I know now when I was 19 trying out for Australia in the karate stuff, I'd be fucking heaps better. Yeah. I'd be way better. I wouldn't say I'd win, but I'd be way better. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you know, we used to do the stretches where, you know, you sit in a butterfly stretch and the instructor would come around and put their, you know, stand on your knees and squash yourself forward, you know, trying to open up the hips more. And you're like, fuck.
Do you know, I still see that. I seen that in JD the other day. It's like, it was the wee calisthenics group they were in, and the woman was sitting in the butterfly pose, and her friend, they had two weights down first, which I kind of get the weighted stretch.
Okay.
But then our friend was yanking it, and I was like,
stand on him.
Don't fucking hurt yourself.
Yeah. That's just nuts. You know, it's just stuff that we've known now is just wrong. Mm-hmm. What we used to do, but that's the growth, isn't it? Mm-hmm. That's the growth. What we've done
that's
now.
Part of the journey, enjoying it.
Yeah. So now I mean, right into ligaments and long range strength, ligaments and tendons. Mm. So short range, long range. It's making sure that we're getting the muscles to work in all ranges instead of just in our normal ranges, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So that's a brilliant thing for longevity as well.
Yeah, I like that.
Getting strength in that, because I think muscles adapt really quick. Ligaments and tendons,
they take a long time.
They're a long time. It's like the hair in the turtle.
That's that.
Yeah, that's it. Mm-hmm. It's the hair in the turtle.
That's silly powerlifting stuff that you were doing.
That was boxing.
But
that's what I mean. You've challenged your body, and you went from novice straight to advanced.
Learned a lot of lessons, but that's the tendon, and I fucking bastard.
Yeah.
So, but that's learning to know how to train other people. Like, because when that kind of thing, when a tendon happens, it's way worse than any muscle.
Yeah,
it takes so long, and if you don't heal it, it never heals, and it can actually stay fucked for a long time.
So there's a couple of things when it comes to my training as well that I do, and I don't do it all the time. So you know everything's adaptable. Is I will do an assessment of my balance or a forward fold to start with, and I do this with clients as well. You know how you get clients who come in and you just yourself, you know, on the day you go to do something, you go, I'm not feeling it today. So having a baseline of something that you can assess to then go, actually, my body, nervous system isn't on point today at all.
It just reminded me, I actually used to do the grip strength test with all my clients, and I don't think I've done that in about a year and a half, actually.
So stuff
I just
like
kind
that.
of fell into complacent.
Stuff like that. So it might be, a simple one is a vision test, your peripheral vision. So, eyes forward and move your hand where you see your thumbs right all the way out. That's your baseline.
Right.
And then you might come in one day and you go.
So do you think that does that change then?
Fucking oath. The vision's the first thing that changes. So when you think about it, the body wants to keep you safe. Yeah. So what is one thing that the body can do without and you'll still be safe? Vision. It's going to be one of the first thing that gets narrow. So I ran a retreat in Austria, and we were going up and down the hills. So we did all these assessments at the start, and we're going up. As we're getting higher, I'm just doing little assessments as we go. Right, vision check. Right, where you go? That's cool. Right, let's go up another couple of hundred. Right, vision check. Fuck,
it's less.
Right, let's go back down again.
Never thought
just try to survive.
Let's go back down again. It's trying to survive. It's like there's no real signs of distress, but it's not really there. So it's kind of like, right, we'll go back down again, test, right, cool, let's go back up, right, narrowed, okay, let's go back down, narrowed, right, you're down, off you go, back down to the thing. And we might do the same thing, when clients come in, go, right, let's just see how you're feeling, right, vision's there, vision's there today, okay, so that's not kind of cool, right, it's normally out a bit wider than that, okay, cool, right, let's do some juggling, let's do some coordination stuff, some rope flow, get some stimulation going, let's do a couple of forward folds in the bear crawls, right, let's recheck. There we go. Right, let's train.
Yeah, I like that.
What does a typical warm up look like with you? Because if you look at the standard approach to warm ups, 5 minutes on the treadmill, right, go lift. What does it look like in your world?
Generally, for me and my clients, is I hit the rower. Big on the rower because it hits most of the body parts.
Right.
It's only obviously pushing exercises that it really misses. So gets the coordination, gets the blood flow, gets nice and warm. And depending if I'm doing something in person, once they've had a row, you get to know your clients. You know when they're on and when they're off. So if they're off, then I'll bring in the juggling and stuff straight away.
Right.
And I might not just use the vision one. I might use a balance one. Balance is the one I normally use. It's called a it's good, isn't it? It's called a
get out there and do your juggling. Come back
get and do your juggling. So it's a balance test where we have both feet in front of each other. It will come to me in a minute. Romberg's.
Right.
And we have both feet in front of each other, heel touching the toe, stand up, eyes closed.
Right.
And if they sway and they're off, then I know things aren't right. So then we'll do some other stuff and then we recheck it. Right. Right, it's back on. Right, now we can train, and then we just go back into what we're working on.
Yeah,
nice and light, or whatever it may be.
Cool.
I've had people come in, and you've had this as well. I'm sure everyone has this, where your client walks through the studio door, and they're ready to go, and you just look at them and you go, "What's fucking going on?"
Yeah, what's up?
No, I'm ready. I'm ready to go.
So I was going to ask you, what do you think of the sort of beast mode mentality then, and as yourself with your own training, like you might do that test, you stand up and you're off balance. Sometimes I can just think, right, let me have another go at it. Like, or do you kind of draw the line there and go, no, straight away that's done?
Off.
Yeah.
Body's out of whack. Let's do something different to get the body ready to then go. Because as I said earlier, there's a hierarchy. So if you're having trouble standing up in a straight line with your eyes shut, how much trouble or the potential problem's going to have when we go, right, heavy back squats today, let's go. Yeah? Hang on a second, the body's not even happy standing up straight
without anything.
You want me to do heavy back squats?
Yeah.
And I think we're just trying to eliminate the potential of doing an injury.
Yeah.
Eliminate the potential. And I kind of I have a 2-second rule. And I've done this, it's actually not even a 2 seconds, it's actually less than a second. So you'll know within a second of attempting that lift, depending on what it is, whether or not you're on form or you're off. Now, ego will kick in, and it happens to us all. Did it last year with me for hamstrings on deadlifts. I did it. I was doing the dent stuff. I was telling you a little bit about it earlier. And it was in the 5th round of the dents, and it was like, I can feel that in the hamstring.
Weird, isn't it? The alarm bells are ringing. You're like,
fuck this.
Fuck that.
I'm a man. I'm winning.
I'm fucking winning this one. I'm winning this one. You bastard. I lost. I knew it. I felt it. And it's kind of trying to be as intrinsic as possible to feeling, but you've got to know your body. And you've got to understand that when you're talking to clients as well. It might be just the slightest change in movement and you go, that was too much. And looking at the dilation of the eyes of your clients, something like that. You'll see a change, and you go, right, let's retest, see where you are with that balance test, vision test.
And you're constantly doing that throughout your workout, saying, that makes a lot of sense.
I might do, yeah.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense.
Because it gives you an idea of when you're ready, especially if you're doing heavy stuff.
Oh, for sure, yeah. I think it's most important at that point.
Yeah. So I don't, it's a simple one. It really is. Really
He's
simple.
like, I need to put my glasses on. I can't even see my thumbs.
I'm lost. I'm fucking lost.
I'm not doing anything.
I can't do anything. But I never cancel a session.
Yeah.
Because there's always something you can work
So
on.
I'm a big believer of that as well. I've had clients who say, like, I'm a wee bit run down today, I might miss. And it's like, look, let's come in and I'll take them through mobility stuff, movement stuff, banded stuff. And this is so the next kind of chapter where you're at in your life, like what's some of the kind of big goals you're pushing? So I seen you doing a lot of the R25 thing, which was the kind of launch of your program, then the Silver Fox formula. So where are you at with your kind of the next chapter of your training for clients and all that?
It's all going online.
Right.
It's all going online.
You used to have a studio, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
Is that away now then?
It's gone, yeah. I got rid of that in December.
Oh, wow.
I got rid of that. So it served a purpose. Over COVID, it worked really well. So mental health. Yeah. So through COVID, it wasn't about the training. It was about allowing people to go to a safe space to interact and still train.
Body, yeah.
So my clients were driving from all over.
Right.
To come and see me, which was really cool because I snuck away in the bush kind of thing on a farm. But it was more about, for them, it was I can come into these doors and there's another human that I can interact with and that I know and I feel comfortable with and let some stuff off. And that's what training is as well.
Yeah.
It's not just, I think people think that personal training is all about just training when it's such a
get a sweat on
massive area of what's happening today? Oh, Gran's got this going on and business is doing that and this is happening and that's all personal training.
Yeah.
Having somewhere where people can vent and you can take information on and they feel safe and secure to go, well, I can offload some stuff.
Yeah.
Kind of a bit of therapy to a certain degree.
Yeah.
And you go, right, you got rid of it. I understand what you're saying. Right, now let's go. Let's crack on, get that out so we can crack on with our targets. So I'm moving into the online. It's going really well. Slow. It suits my character. So, I've got the R25, which is phase 1 of the Silver Fox. Right. And then you go into all the different phases as we go along. So
what does phase 1 look like for anyone that's listening that might be kind of
phase 1 is 5 weeks. It's phase 1 is really you could keep that as a standalone program and just repeat it. Each week it gets a little harder.
Yeah.
But it's the way I set it out was I wanted it to be you're different to me. You're different to me. We're all different, but we could all do the same thing and get a cracking workout because I've set it up so that all your numbers for all the exercises are based on a 20-second timer.
Right.
So, beep, how many push-ups can you do? Is that amount? I can only do that amount. You can do that amount. Great. There's your numbers for the next 5-minute round. So it all works on 5-minute rounds, these mini rounds that I work on. And each week it just gets a little harder. We throw another round in there. We've got a core routine that goes into there. We've got breathing exercises that we do. There's a flexibility session that's built in there. And it's all around the I don't have it on this shirt. It's the 25 is 5 minutes a day, 5 different sections. So it builds up. And you can do them all in a row or you can do them one by one. So it makes it super simple. And as you get better, and if you're starting to hit over 10 on everything, then we need to make the exercises harder. Yeah. As in, you push up, make it a deficit push up. Because I want an inclusive range. You inverted presses, right? And put your feet up on a box. You know what I mean? Or go into a P-bars and drop down so you're getting lower. Because then I think every move should have the progression for another move. We just don't do a move for the sake of doing a fucking move, apart from high rocks where they do that burpee broad jump. Like, that leads into nothing.
Yeah.
It's just
pain.
stupid.
It's just pain and mental.
It's just pain. But do you know what I mean? So everything has a progression for something else. If you want to go to that level, so people say, why am I doing overhead presses for? Ever thought about doing a handstand push-up? No? Okay, cool. Just keep on working it. Or you want to do some yoga stuff, crow poses. Yeah. Oh yeah, I've thought about that. Well, there you go. This is a way to work into it. That's a progression to get into it.
Just
a little bit of coordination and, let's be honest. If I said to someone, right, I've got a program that's going to help with vision and balance and, they're going to go, I'm not doing that.
I don't care about that.
I don't care about that. Yeah. Going to lose some weight and get a bit stronger.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm keen on that. I'm keen on that. So you've got to, that's why
funnel them in.
I interweave all that stuff in there.
6 weeks in, they're like, here, I can see so much better. And you're like,
stuff. Yeah.
It's a weird testimonial to give.
No, balance is better too.
Yeah.
Coordination, that's good.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Cool.
How many times have you heard from clients it's like, oh yeah, my balance is just terrible, and it's like, yeah, you know, that's a skill and a strength issue that we can work on. They're like, no, my balance, I'm just clumsy. It's like, no, that's not a thing. It's a weakness.
You're weak in a lot of places.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Or they've actually got some neurological stuff.
That too, yeah.
Going on. That they're not aware of.
I've got a client I know.
Canal stuff.
They struggle with firing, and I got them to. I can't remember. I think it's one of the guys you follow. Is it Regan? No, it's one of the. I don't know if he's Australian. I think he's in the same group as the knee over toes guys. Sort of stuff. But I seen a video with him doing walking lunges and lifting the arm up to match the opposite leg that you're doing. And I remember seeing that, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to try this out with this client. And I done it with him. This is well over a year ago, and in his speech, I seen how sharper he got speaking to me in that same session, and how sharp he was for some of the other movements we're doing. And that was my first kind of like way into this sort of, well, you stimulate the brain, it stimulates the workout. But I've never taken it any further until you started bringing some of the stuff up there. And it's kind of got me thinking that, well, that makes a lot of sense, especially if I'm working with older clientele as well. Because that is on a downward decline if they're not.
So what I started doing, just one move, is after I got clients doing squats, we go into like a sprinter. So it was single leg, and you go from the squat position and then throw one leg back and come forward and then come back up, and then change over the other side, then go back into your squat again. And it was kind of like, whoa, the squats after that seemed to be so much easier. Good. Because everything's firing up. But I'm looking at it as well from the vestibular point of view, and I can then bring that the heads, because the movement of the head in space is such a big thing for a lot of people.
We always lie back. We never go forward.
It's either going to throw them off. And if it throws them off, then I know I've got some more work to do. I might have to do some visual stuff. But bringing that quick head rotation down and back up again. Right, how did you feel? Do you get dizzy? No. Good. Right, let's squat. Do you get dizzy? Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Keep going.
Take some notes of that. They get dizzy when their head drops down and comes back up again.
What's some of the things you'd work on with the client then? Because I actually think of most of my clients over the age of 50, all just knowing, because we picked the dumbbells up off the ground, and they're like, oh, my head's a wee bit sore. So what's some things that you're working on kind of with that? Because that's obviously straight away. I know it's a number of different things, but
multitude of stuff, hey. One of the things I would probably look at, do you do any muscle testing at all?
In what way?
And actual test and muscle strength and so forth?
Yeah, I guess I do like a pre-phase, which is all the main joint movement patterns and seeing how they move, and then I determine whether we go like unilateral or stay bilateral, and then I design the program from there. You
can start to muscle test for certain things,
right?
So like I do it with the kids, and you could go to find out whether or not they're hydrated. Yeah.
So Himalayan salt and hydration's usually, if anyone's like, my head's, I've got a really sore head, that seems to be the most groundbreaking thing for every single client.
You're drinking water.
No, I don't like it. Right. We need to have a conversation.
I wake up with a coffee. Right, where's the water?
I
just have a coffee.
So simple stuff like that, so you can get into, check out AMN, Applied Movement Neurology. And I do muscle testing, flexion test of the shoulder. And
you pushing against that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And you can ask questions, so I might, you might get someone, and I've done this in the past, is right, let's test this nice and strong, right? And you might say to them, right, are you drinking enough water? Hold the water. And there's no strength. It's like, you're not drinking fucking anywhere near enough water. The body's telling me stuff, The body has all the answers, It's
got all the alarm bells.
We just got to learn how to ask the questions and then decipher the information that's given back.
Diagnose it.
And the muscle testing is a really cool way of doing that.
Yeah, so look at it. I like that.
I've done some of that with clients about, right, where are we today? These things that just not right. And you go, right, should we do strength exercises today? Nice and strong. Yeah. Should we do strength exercises? No, can't, mate. They got nothing. They got nothing. They're shattered. So you can use it in a whole bunch of different ways.
I used to think that the brain does is telling you.
Yeah,
look, you ain't ready for that.
It just can't tell you.
So I guess pivoting a wee bit to mindset, because I think mindset, when you look at people's training and how they how they approach training. We've all had a bunch of clients come in, it's like, right, we're going to start working out, and they're working out and they're chatting away at the same time, and there's value to that, because like you said, personal training is not just how much weight you lift in the gym and all that sort of stuff. But what would you say is like some of the things that can better someone's mindset as they're approaching or as they're in their journey for their health and fitness?
Cut out the flaff. I think we spend too much time in the gym. So, and I was alluding to this earlier, is this dense style stuff, the 5-minute block or the 10-minute block, on the minute, every minute, and you do your workout. So I really like that approach, and that's where I'm excited about with my training as well. And all my clients now do that as well. So we do 5D1, 5D3, 5D5, and 5D10, and then we do 10D1, 10D3, 10D5. So the 10, it means that you're doing 10 rounds. The dense means it's on the minute, every minute. And the 1 means what rep you're going to be doing. You're going to be doing a 1, a 3, a 5, or a 10. Yeah. So we now can work in all different areas of strength and endurance. And you can then manage your time in the gym. So you go, I've only got 20 minutes to go in there. Right. Go and jump on the rower for your for your 5 minutes.
Yeah, you're doing your 3 today or whatever.
Yeah. You've got that done. Then you've got 2 blocks of dense style. Done. Finished. What'd you do? Did the rower, and I did a 5D5 of bench press, and I did a 5D10 of, overhead squat. Happy days. Good workout. Well done. On you go.
Yeah, and they're leaving going, it doesn't feel like a workout though. And you're like, well, that's the beauty of working out.
So, and I also think that gone are the days where, and we should never have had those days, it's talking about the beasting stuff. You should be able to back up. If you are that fucking sore that you can't move for 2 or 3 days, you've done something wrong.
You need to tell these bodybuilders with a 3-hour leg days and 17,000 calorie burn on that.
You've done something wrong.
It's like
you haven't done it right.
And this is how I communicate to my clients, because a lot of them are coming in saying, look, we working out for an hour, and it's like, well, why an hour? Why 10,000 steps? Like, it needs to be relative to what you can handle. Yeah. And why would we push by those 20, 30 minutes if your body's got what you we're here to do?
Yeah.
Tomorrow's a new day. So conserve and save that energy, because
you
don't want to take that away from life.
Yeah.
And there are 23 hours.
So I had a question the other day was, do you work out every day? Yeah, pretty much.
There's always something to do.
Always something to do.
Yeah.
And the days where you unfortunately got an injury, I see them as an opportunity. You go,
I like that. Yeah. Because a lot of people feel defeated, or I'm too sore, I've got a cold, this, that. And it's like, well, this is your opportunity to pivot.
Opportunity. You go, I've got a sore shoulder. Perfect. I've got an opportunity to work on your lower body and all your mobility. How's your ankle dorsiflexion? When was the last time you tested that? Oh, I can't remember. Right, there you go.
Yeah.
Today's the day.
That was my biggest mistake. No, but that was my biggest mistake, no working out every day.
And I think you can.
I was going to say, we should have had Rob on like 2 months ago. He would have saved that.
But this is, I said to him, this is the perfect time.
Kind of needed to go through it.
That was my biggest mistake, no working out at least 15 minutes every day.
Yeah, that's it. And it's not about, well, I didn't lift any weights today. It's not like, well, what did you do? I crawled around the backyard doing stuff. That's still working out.
Just because it's weird doesn't mean you shouldn't do it.
Just because it hasn't got a weight attached to it.
So it's always weird though, because people can't put that together, so they don't get the feeling of it either though.
Yeah, I understand it.
Do you know what I mean? So if they can put it together, they actually get the feeling of it. Yeah. It's like a genuine, as you say, the plasticity in your brain can put that and that together, but if you don't, then you won't get the feeling either.
Yeah. I did something the other day, it was the other week, where everyone's got, you've got a patio at home, all the frigging weeds that keep on growing through it. Yeah. So I was like, right, I've got to do that, but I'm going to do monkey and bear as I'm doing it. So for an hour, I was sideways monkeying, pulling out the weeds, and sideways and doing rotations and, kicking around and doing stuff. Now, it just so happened that I got all the weeds taken out, but I was knackered.
You got a full workout.
I
got a full workout.
You bolstered it on, combined two things together.
Yeah. It's like, right, I could easily just get a chair and sit in a chair and do the weeds, or I'm going to sit in a low squat and I'm going to crawl across, I'm going to crawl backwards, I'm going to move forwards, I'm going to go sideways, I'm going to do a couple of rotations because it's fun. Yeah. And then you get back up and you go, whoa, my goodness, that was...
What's funny about that as well, so many people do gardening, certain things throughout the day that they don't realise is that's your body moving, it's resistance. And I've got, Callum's mum and dad, so they're in their 60s, they've never lifted weights before, done a little bit, and they're checking in with me, coming here once a week, teaching them different movements, and I'm talking to them, Calum's mum, Janice, she's like, yeah, I done my workout yesterday. And his dad's like, no, I missed it. I had to go chop some firewood. And I was like, chopping like tree trunks? And he's like, yeah, I'm chopping that for a good hour and a half. And I was like, cool. I was like, that's good.
There you go.
And he goes, but it doesn't feel like a work. Well, it is. I'm gubbed after it, but I'm not actually working out. And I was like, no, this resistance training is repetitive movement. Yeah. You're challenging different things. And like you said, the probably idea for me to say to him next time he goes to that, maybe change the sides that he swings with and challenge the brain. And depends on what you do. Probably funny. One of the last questions I probably want to ask you here is, do you have any kind of regrets when you look back? Is there anything big that you're like, man, I wish I'd done this when I was younger. I wish I could speak to these people or whatever it is.
I wish I'd started. Well, everyone's in their situation, and you're not going to change it. Because if I had started this when I started this, it's going to sound weird, I wouldn't be in the position to be able to do it because I wouldn't have all the injuries.
Yeah, you would know.
I wouldn't be here. You know what I mean? So everything's happened for a reason. Then you get to that spot.
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Everything happens for a reason.
Everything's happened. So it's kind of like,
or it just happens.
If I could take the information and still do what I'm doing now, but have used it earlier, then I would do. I would definitely do. Yeah. I'd do all the movements and the neurology and all that type of stuff. And I would probably be a bigger advocate for the dense style training as well, because I think it's the safest way to lift, where you're not really ever doing a 1 rep max, because you're either doing 5 of them or you're doing 10 of them, But you can base it off that. So it's a nice, safe way to be able to do the whole thing. It's short and sharp. I went to a seminar, a salesy thing in Glasgow, and I stayed at the Village Hotel.
All right, yeah.
And I think that was it for the Commonwealth Games they built that?
Yeah.
So the gym.
That was the Growth Getters? Oh, no.
No,
it was because I remember we spoke.
Yeah, so it was a different one. Yeah, but yeah. So the gym there is amazing. Like it's full on. It was brilliant. And I went up there and I had the pull-up bar, I had my squats, I had some bench press going on. And I was out within 30, and guys, look, because the buzzer's going. I've got my buzzer. And it's like, right, so I did my pull-ups and I went over and did some squats. And it's like, beep, pull-ups and squat. And you see people looking around going, what the fuck's that noise? And this guy just hasn't stopped. He's like, beep, beep.
Go on.
Beep. Yeah, and I did 3 rounds. And it's like, right, I'm out. And you see the guy still doing curls. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like, how much time are we spending? So if I could take that, because one of the perceptions is it takes so long. It takes how long?
Don't have the time. Don't have the time.
You know, I haven't got the time to go to the gym. Right, I'll show you a way.
Here's 30 minutes.
It's just 20 minutes. It's 20 minutes, 25 minutes.
I'm sure I've even seen your story, like the 10-minute one as well that you've done in the kitchen.
It's fucking brilliant.
Yeah, movement.
Yeah.
No matter how little you do it, is a win.
Well, it's a cumulative. So if you can only do 5 minutes in the morning and then 5 minutes at lunchtime and then 5 minutes in the evening, there's 15 minutes every day.
You didn't do before.
Every
single
day. That you
day.
would never have done.
That you can also scale and compound and get the reward from this.
So we need to change the thought process. Oh, I've got to go to the gym for an hour. It's like, you don't have to.
You choose to.
You can go to the gym and stop scrolling in between each set and taking 3 minutes.
You get it done.
And this is the other thing that I like about it too, is because it's timed, it's very measurable.
Yeah, and you're in the zone. You're thinking about it.
You're in your zone, so there's no flaff, but you also get a true indication of how strong you are.
Yeah.
Because each rest period
is exactly
the same. So therefore, you can go, right, I'm doing 150 kgs on my deadlift, and you go, oh, I couldn't make it on the next one. Okay, cool. But if I wasted another 5 minutes, I could have lifted it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because your energy, all your ATP's built back up. So it's kind of like, this gives you a better indicator of where you're at.
Yeah.
And you go, right, now I can actually mark it.
The Mark St. Jones.
You might have to take a little bit of ego out. Oh, but I can do 200. Go and do that.
That's not the purpose.
Go and do that at another time. But for your majority of your work, go, right, get in there, get it done. Buzzer goes off. Shit, I'm tired.
Let's go.
Right, let's go.
I like it.
It's really simple. It's really simple.
Yeah.
So I know we've been talking for a wee while, but are you all right for time?
I am. What time is it?
1:45.
Yeah.
I just want to ask about one more thing. So we spoke about.
Shoot.
So you said before, breath work is one of the biggest things to change your life.
Yes.
Like, We don't know anything about breathwork. We had someone on, he says breathwork's big, but he didn't know too much. He's just getting into it. Why is it so big?
Well, it's one of those things. We do it every day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just because it's automatic doesn't mean it's optimal.
Mm.
We train everything else, and people leave out breath, which is one of the governing movement within your whole body.
Keeps us alive.
Keeps you alive.
Keeps you ticking.
Keeps you friggin' alive. And yet we don't look at it in a way of being able to improve it. It's starting to change now with high-level sports people.
Yeah.
You're starting to see them taping their mouth at night, no strips and all of that type of stuff. Wim Hof, bless him, he's done a brilliant job to bring breathwork into
the mainstream.
Is it the right type of breathing for the majority of people? I'll say it. No, it's not.
So why is it not? You mentioned that a wee bit earlier with Wim Hof, but I thought I didn't realise there would obviously know there's different types, but what is it that's not right for him?
Because Wim's he's done it really well, because he's never ever said that he's going to improve how you breathe. He's going to teach you a technique of breath work to get into your mind, to get into cold water. Yeah, so it
serves a purpose.
It serves a purpose, which is great. But if you're already highly stressed individual, and you start to practice hyperventilation breathing,
makes it worse.
It's going to make it worse. Yes, you might get a rush from being in the cold water. Now I'm doing some more study on the cold water stuff, and I didn't realize that just being in the cold water does something for your spleen, which actually pushes out more red blood cells from being in the cold water.
Yeah.
So you're going to get a rush
anyway
from having that. Yeah. But if we can teach you how to breathe more efficiently and more functionally, then you're going to get extra benefits from that. And that only comes down to your correlation and your sensitivity to CO2.
Yeah.
So carbon dioxide, which is the gas that makes you want to breathe. It's not the lack of oxygen. It's the CO2 that's in your blood that makes you want to breathe. Yeah. Right. So if we can teach you how to be more resistant and resilient of CO2,
you can breathe better.
You're going to breathe better.
Right.
And that's where the Bolt score comes in.
Right. And so how are you measuring the Bolt score? So you mentioned breaths per.
So I do breaths per minute. How many breaths per minute are you taking?
And then you just counting? Is that just like stopwatch?
Right, Mr. and Mrs. whoever, radio, get ready. Buzzer goes beep. Count how many times you inhale in 15 seconds.
And then beep. Multiply.
What was your number? Times it by 4. That's how many breaths you're taking per minute.
Yeah.
Gives you a rough idea. But as soon as you mention it, I know you're going to change how you breathe.
That's what I was going to say.
It's always going to change. It's always going to change. So the best way to kind of monitor it is, if you've got a smartwatch, but I'm not going to say go and buy one, because it's going to monitor it when you're asleep, when you're unconsciously breathing, you're not thinking about it. That's going to be the best way to measure how many times you breathe. Now, in this example, in this test or assessment, the lower the number, the better. I've had people when I've run classes, it's like, right, we're going to do more like a stretching class. Right, we're just going to count how many times you're going to breathe in a minute. Yeah, cool, right. Anyone over 20? Yeah! It's like, fucking winner! No, not quite. We want to keep it. And when you think about it in a really simple manner, if we can be productive with not breathing as much, it's got to be a good thing. And you're starting to see it now. Like, say with the guys at Hyrux, guy Jake Dearden that won it in 7 minutes.
I don't think his heart rate went over. What was it? He didn't break 130 beats. I think he had a spike, but most of that was under like 120 or 150, something crazy.
Did you see his fight? I've looked at some of his videos and some of his
mouth shut though.
Mouth shut, motionless for the whole time.
Yeah.
Now there's a key there. He's in a safe zone. He's not working over the top.
He's not stressed.
He's not stressed. There's no stress at all.
Well, I think everything's got a shelf life. Everything's got a time limit. Same with our heart and our beats and all that sort of stuff. So it would make sense that the stronger that beats, yes, it's important for blood flow, but the kind of more we can control the beats and have, like you said, that less stressed environment, it can make sense how it does there. So what's some kind of quick fire tips on breathing better or breathing more efficiently or improving your breathing?
We want to kind of get our breaths down to, when you're consciously awake, if you possibly can, to around 6 breaths a minute. That's around the ultimate number.
Right.
Yeah.
Just like my heart rate to see where it was sitting at.
5.5, 6 breaths a minute. So you go, right. Now, I've done a lot of talking, so I'm dehydrated.
Yeah.
Because we know when we go through the mouth, then we're losing moisture. Yeah, so that's why we do a lot of nasal breathing. And nasal breathing is really the only way I breathe. Now, even doing high rocks, I tried to breathe as much as possible. Now, you should see my heart rate. I was at 185.
Yeah, I went up to 200 and then I came down quick a little bit.
But it was really interesting. Every time I did my run, I went straight into nasal because that was my technique. I was like, I'm going to use
calm the body down.
I was right back down to 70. Right. So 180 and then...
You got it down to 70, did you, on that run?
Down to 70 on the run. And then back up there, and then there's 70, 85, you know what I mean? But it was that. Every run was that, but it was what I wanted. So when we're breathing through the nose, there's a gas called nitric oxide that pools in your nose, which is a vasodilator. So it opens up all the vessels.
Right.
So that allows all the oxygen to flow around your body.
So that's why they open the nose up.
It's why I'm always breathing. So I had that little Air Max shoved up my nose to hold it.
Callum McGowan was wearing it. He was podcasting. He goes, Rob told me to get this. And I was like, I've always seen them on the outside of the nose, but that one that was inside, it pushed them
straight up in the snores. I carry it. True trainer.
Should you get a sponsor?
I carry him with me. Because when I'm pushing hard or breathing heavy, my nostrils collapse. So if I go,
most people,
So if I'm on the rower, then I really struggle. So I wear that.
Yeah, slips up in.
Yeah, just shove it up your honker. It's you get used to it. It's comfy after a period of time. It doesn't improve your sex life though.
Well, people are taking it to the next level. Yeah.
Well, it depends what group it hasn't done anything for mine. So you're looking at it as ways of doing that. So one of the things is 10-second cycle. So 4 seconds in, 6 seconds out. Making sure that the exhale is longer than the inhale is going to drive the parasympathetic system. It's going to bring the nervous system down. It's going to regulate.
And are you exhaling through your mouth, or are you still keeping this in?
I try to do everything through the nose.
Right.
Yeah, but let's face it, some people would just find that really difficult to do, and that's okay. So you just start in through the nose and then out through the mouth, or in through the mouth and out through the mouth to start with. It's still going to have a benefit.
Yeah.
But if I can get the gas on the inhale to get the nitric oxide, then that's a winner.
Yeah.
So, when I was doing the sled pushes, I'm still trying to breathe in through the nose and then out through the mouth until you get to the level where you can no longer maintain that because the exertion level increases. Yeah. It goes, so, sled pulls and sled pushes and that, you just go, all of a sudden you're just breathing like a maniac, but in a controlled manner. So I'm still trying to control, even though I'm out of breath, I'm still trying to control my breath.
Yeah.
Instead of just
gassing. Yeah.
And just gassing. Yeah. I'm now trying to regulate it.
Slow, controlled.
And control.
So
I think the biggest thing for people is work out how you breathe and how you're aware of your breath and connect to it.
Right.
That's the most important thing because most people wouldn't have a fucking clue.
No, it's making the rounds a wee bit more now. Like you said, Wim Hof and Joe Rogan spoke about it, and then you've got UFC fighters talking about high level athletes.
Hormozy doing his every podcast. He's got his nose thing on.
Some people just really struggle to breathe in through their nose and that sort of stuff. Is it a misconception that will clear up if they're constantly breathing through their mouth?
Well, a lot of people don't, so that's where that come in.
Right, so that helps in the opening up. Yeah,
I've had a couple of clients send me messages and go, "Holy fuck, is this what it's like to breathe?"
It's like new fresh air.
It's completely.
My brother's someone, and I've said to him, I was like, "Look, you are a mouth breather, and trying to get a couple of breaths in through the nose, just try it and see."
Yeah.
He's like, "Well, I'm struggling with this, so maybe that's something to go for."
So try I got big pores on my nose, so having those tapes, they just peel off, and I just don't like them.
Yeah.
They're a bit uncomfortable. So having that made it so much easier.
Yeah.
So much easier.
And the 4 seconds in, 6 seconds out, are you just focusing this on in training or at every moment throughout the day?
As much as you possibly can.
Yeah. Just being conscious of it.
Just be conscious of your breath.
So I know I've seen you go out in sunlight and then try to focus on kind of not tape. Did you tape your mouth when you were doing that as well? Or were you just focusing more on the?
No, so the one I've got at the moment is I shoved that thing up my nose. I didn't tape my mouth, but I put my my mask on, my oxygen mask, resistant. So I'm really training the diaphragm because of high rocks.
Yeah,
because I was out of breath. So it's like, right, I need to up the breath game.
So I was going to be the follow up question, like what is the benefits of this? So you're going to recover better. You're going to be able to endure in an event, you'll be able to have more output. What else, like for longevity then? Like
longevity is a game changer.
Yeah.
You know, think about better sleep, better sex drive, better recovery muscle-wise, better transportation of everything throughout your body.
Yeah, nutrients and fluids.
It's like, there's no downsides. The only downside is if you're not doing it.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's mad that you say it's the thing that keeps us alive, but we don't think about trying to improve it. Yeah.
You know, I get comments, you know, when I talk about breath, you get, oh, but I was born breathing. And I was like, yeah, but you were born with a brain and you knew fuck all.
You train it, you develop it.
You were born with muscles, but yet you couldn't walk.
Yeah.
So don't tell me that just because you're born, you know, you slapped on the bum and you could breathe means it's right. Mm-hmm. You know, we can improve it.
Yeah.
We can improve it. I tell you, I had one of my guys that is now in his 60s. This must have been when he was coming up to 60. You would have seen me using the harness, yeah. I've got a harness for pull-ups and muscle-ups and all that type of stuff.
Oh, yeah, see, no, I mean, it might be the guy I'm thinking about. Like, so you're pulling your body weight, you got the bands attached to it.
Yeah, so this one's no bands. This one's like you sit in a harness, it's on a pulley system, so it takes 50% of your body weight.
Right.
So it's a great way to, you know, practice if you want to get into muscle-ups, progress into muscle-ups and dips and rehab and iron crosses and, you know, all that fucking stuff if you want to get into it. It's really cool. And I got him just to change how he was breathing and concentrate on his breath. Mm-hmm. And the number of reps that he did was like way more than normal. Mm-hmm. And he was like, because he was in a different zone.
Yeah.
He was just like, and it was like.
Same with strength training. Like
before I got injured,
there was no strength.
There was no stress. I used to do a belly breathing like that 20 times with my eyes shut.
Yep.
And when I came out it, I was like, whoa, I feel like in this weird, like nothing else mattered.
Utopia type thing.
Aye, like nothing, you're training just like ready.
Central nervous system for the lift, for the stress, or likewise when you come out and you finish a workout, again, getting back into that parasympathetic state. It can be used to enhance and to deplete.
There's so many ways that you can breathe. It's like, it's not just one paradox. Mm-hmm. You know, there's so many different ways of doing it for so many different varieties of situations.
No, I love it. Well, we could probably sit and talk to you for another 2 hours, but definitely a part two coming up. But thanks very much for coming on the show. We'll shout all your stuff out at the start. So right now, have you got the next intake? Like, what's happening with your online coaching?
I'm going to start doing that monthly, actually. Right, so probably every month or every second month, and I'll take another 3 or 4 blokes through
pre-phase and all that sort of stuff.
Go through the assessment, and then get through phase 1. And then for those, it's kind of like phase 1 leads into
phase 2,
phase 2, phase 3, phase 4, and depends on where you want to go.
So without me butchering it, what's your elevator pitch for the people who you help then? Is it everyone that wants to come
generally now I work with guys mainly over 40.
Right.
Mainly over 40 and generally all business owners.
Cool.
And it's the ones that need the most help, you know, the ones that think, I haven't got the fucking time to do it. Mm-hmm. You have got the time to do it. You can show them. Yeah.
I
travel a lot. Great. Good, because this is ideal. You know, it's that type of just trying to eliminate the bullshit of all the excuses.
Well, like you said earlier on, you've got a guarantee there. You know what you can hit.
Yeah. And you do the work, you can't fail.
Yeah,
it's impossible.
Which is awesome. Well, thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. Appreciate that.
See you in the next one.